distinguished guests, colleges, and industry leaders. Welcome to the 23rd International Logistic and Supply Chain Congress. My name is Kerem Ünal, and I'm studying Management Information System at Topkapı University. Now, please stand for the national anthem and a moment of the silence. Now, we are delegated to Convine on October 16 and 17 in Istanbul, hosted by Istanbul Topkapı University in collaboration with Loder and Cranfield University. This year's theme is Sustainable and Resilient Supply Chains in the Generative Artificial Intelligence Era. In our hybrid format, we will explore cutting-edge, insight-spanning research and practice. Sincere thanks to our committees, authors, and supporters. Now, I would like to invite Professor Batuhan Kocaoğlu for the opening address.
Sesim geliyor mu? Çalışıyor mu? Bir dakika falan fotoğraf için. Galiba ışık, ses de düzeldi. Işık devreye girecek. Good morning. Welcome to our Congress. It's a pleasure to guest you here. Before beginning, we have some thanks, and thanks to Professor Mehmet Sanyaş, the president of Loder, is also my professor, and colleagues from Cranfield University, Dr. Rabbi, Professor Emel, and our guest speakers, Selma Öner, İsmail Karakış, and Emre Türkmen. Of course, our supporters here from İstanbul Topkapı Üniversitesi, our rector, Professor Emre Alkin, Chairman Mr. Nihat Kırmızı, our Dean Ercan Gegez, and dear professors Ayalıcı, Fazlı Yıldırım, Bora Gündüzeli, our students, our assistants, our administrative staff, and who contributed, everyone. Here, I will just have an introduction and deliver the words to the speakers. You know, our main theme is generative AI. We are living in a different age. We are talking about ChatGPT. In every discussion we ask, let's ask ChatGPT, even in medical discussions. So it's like quite transformation because we are the now end users of AI. And there's a shift about how we think, how we learn, and how we decide. So the challenge is adaptation, how we adapt quickly to this change. And when we check the business trends, especially supply chain trends, Association of Supply Chain Management each year publishes top 10 trends. And you see when we check the top 10 trends, 5 of them are they are red circled, are directly related to technology. So technology is changing supply chain operations more than ever. And you see top 1 is AI, artificial intelligence. And there's a paradox in the business life. There's a big interest to AI, but when we check the success and failures, there's a low success rate. Even AI is a very cool topic. And when we check the reports from MIT, McKinsey, there are similar results. The success rate is very low. So the problem is technology is ready, but organizations and human is not ready enough. And saying we use AI is not same as we create value using AI. So what to do? There are lots of frameworks, reports. I have just put one of them. They say 4E, starting with evangelism, inspiring people, then educating people for the AI revolution, and setting clear rules for the projects and make proper alignment. Then experimentation. Start small, go step by step, learn, adapt, and readapt as necessary. Disruption forecasting is a very popular topic, and general AI is changing our lives in many ways. That's an interesting news. A woman wants to divorce her husband because ChatGPT read in the cup that he's cheating on her. Interesting, funny, but real. We will see different stories like this. AI is in our life, business, and social life. So another popular question is, will AI take our jobs? Will it? What do you think? It's a popular question. Robots came and will lose our jobs. So actually the discussion point is rather than jobs, it's about tasks. We may not lose all of our jobs, but we will deliver some tasks to automation. So the best team is made up of human and machine, the combination, the collaboration. Even World Economic Report states that here, the hybrid, most productive organizations use a hybrid approach. Combination means people using AI solution as an assistant. And in the following 10 years, you'll see there's not a decrease, there's an increase in the share of the tasks. And last, let's take a few predictions about data and AI. Here you see the famous from Gartner's report. In the following years, AI agents will influence half of the business decisions. It's an important number. And more than half of the data leaders will influence the problem of synthetic data failures. And last, AI literate leaders will drive higher financial performance. So AI will dominate our business lives and decisions. So final words, classical question, AI, is it a threat or a tool for transformation. So the change, the transformation is inevitable. So will it be humanless or human empowered? So today you'll hear inspiring speeches about AI, sustainability, resilience. So I will just show a final short video that was released 6 or 7 days ago from OpenAI.
I can ask the Coursera app in ChatGPT to help me learn more about this. I can say, Coursera, can you teach me something about machine learning? Since this is my first time using Coursera,
actually inside the ChatGPT opens Coursera application
I'll be able to dive in
and starts to chat with the application. It's new. Inside the ChatGPT, log into system.
Coursera app directly, but ChatGPT can also suggest apps if relevant to the conversation. Apps in ChatGPT by default are displayed inline and can support anything that you can render on the web, like this video shown here. Apps SDK also supports picture-in-picture or expanding to a full-screen layout. So now that I have my course up, let's play the video. Playing the video immediately pins it to the top of my screen, which is really helpful for something like Coursera because you can access your conversation while watching the video. I can ask ChatGPT, can you explain more about what they're saying right now? Apps SDK provides an API to expose context back to ChatGPT from your app, ensuring that the model always knows about exactly what your user is interacting with. We're calling it talking to apps, and it's really part of the magic here.
Talking app, they say, is a part of the magic. As you see, now you open the application. It can be it can be Spotify. Just you write the names of the songs. It automatically creates a list for you and plays it. They say it's a revolution. We will see in the following days. Even it will be popular for education, training as well. And last, about Congress, just a reminder, at the end of the Congress, the selected papers will be published in several journals. Lecture notes in operations research, in Springer's, and supply chain management research, and logistic dergisi. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being here. Hope it will be an enjoyable time for you. See you.
Thank you, Professor. And now, I would like to invite the President of the LODER, Professor Mehmet Tanyaş, to the stage.
Okay. Dear Dean and Vice President and participants, first of all, I am very happy to be here with my friends and with students. It's a great pleasure to host the 23rd International Logistics and Supply Chain Congress. This Congress has been arranged in cooperation a Turkish university, a foreign university, and Logistic Association of Turkey, in short, LODER, every year. This year, our Congress partners, as you know, are İstanbul Topkapı University and England, Cranfield University. The Cranfield University is the most famous university in supply chain management. The father of supply chain management, we say Martin Christopher, worked in this university. Scientific Congress and Symposium are very useful for providing references for establishing logistic and supply chain policies. This Congress provides one or two milestones on this basis with presentation, discussion, and proceedings. As announced, I am president of Logistics Association, so I would like to introduce you Loder. Let's share the presentation of Loder. There is a sabotage for Loder. Okay. Logistics Association Loder was founded in 2001. Pioneer in NGOs in Turkey, and supports professional and sectoral development in the field of logistics and supply chain. As you know, supply chain covers the logistics stage. The main differences to other associations our members are individual members, not companies. Approximately, we have 1,000 members, including academician professionals working in companies and that receive and provide logistics service, and IT experts. Our aim is to support professional sectoral development in logistics and supply chain, especially in Turkey. Our vision to be leading institution that directs logistics and supply chain management activities in our country. Mission is to support and ensure sustainability of our stakeholders' logistics and supply chain activities in the line on with their strategic goals. This is our organization. Let's pass. We have a lot of activities. I will not all of them. A few sample. International Congress on Logistics and Supply Chain in English, and National Logistics and Supply Chain Congress in Turkish. And let me see here. Agriculture, Food and Supply Chain Symposium in cooperation any university or municipality. Inter-University Logistic Case competition in cooperation with Mars Logistic. And we have some system standards to be applied for the industry. Journal of Logistics is in the TR index. Then we have logistic education standards, curriculum and other things. We are organized International Disaster and Humanitarian Aid Logistic Congress. Logistic Terms Dictionary. Like that. This is the sample of the activities. Let's pass. Okay. I can stop. Lastly, I would like to thank Istanbul Topkapı University and Cranfield University for their efforts in organizing this Congress. I would especially like to thank Associate Professor Dr. Abi Kaç. Right? As you know, Abi is also a Turkish name, older brother. The same meaning. and Professor Dr. Emel Aktaş, who's academician in Cranfield University. She will give an online presentation tomorrow. And also thank keynote speakers Selma Ader, İsmail Karakış, Emre Türkmen for their contribution. And we thank Mehmet Yavuz Kankavi, who is CEO of Bertan Logistik, for his sponsorship. Thank you very much. Our special thanks to Professor Batuhan Kocalı and his team for did a lot of organizational works. Finally, I would like to thank everyone who has contributed to making this Congress a reality and success. I wish all participants very fruitful Congress and healthy days. Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me giving a warm welcome to our Dean, Professor Ercan Geges.
I'm sure you can hear me, but I'm not sure if I can read it, just because it's very dark here. Distinguished scholars, esteemed colleagues, students, and honored guests. It's a great privilege for me to welcome you all to the International Logistics and Supply Chain Congress. As the Dean of Faculty of Economic, Administrative, and Social Sciences, and as someone whose academic background lies in marketing, I am particularly delighted to see this convergence of disciplines where marketing, logistics, and supply chain management meet to shape the future of global commerce. In today's world, supply chains are no longer just operational systems, they have become strategic assets. The efficiency, flexibility, and transparency of supply chain now directly determine a brand's market position and customer value proposition. As marketers, we have learned that delivering the right message means nothing if we cannot also deliver the right product at the right time, in the right place, and under the right conditions. Recent disruptions, from pandemics to geopolitical tensions, have revealed how fragile yet vital global logistic networks truly are. These disruptions have also forced us to rethink traditional marketing and business models. Resilient supply chains are not only operational necessities, they are part of a company's brand promise and consumer trust. In that sense, logistics is not behind the scenes anymore. It is a key component of the marketing strategy itself. As scholars, we must explore how data-driven marketing, artificial intelligence, and sustainable logistics intersect to redefine customer experience and competitive advantage. The future of both marketing and logistics lies in integration, the seamless flow of not only goods, but also information, insights, and values across global networks. This congress provides an ideal platform for such dialogue. Over the next few days, you will engage with cutting-edge research, share perspectives, and debate the emerging challenges of the 21st century supply chain. I encourage you to approach these discussions with curiosity and collaboration, the very spirit that drives academic progress. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to İstanbul Topkapı University Board of Trustees Chairman Mr. Nihat Kırmızı, Rector Professor Dr. Emre Alkin, our colleagues from Cranfield University, former Dean Professor Dr. Ali Halıcı, Head of Management Information Systems Department Professor Dr. Fazlı Yıldırım, President of LODER Professor Dr. Mehmet Tanyaş, widely recognized as one of the leading figures in logistics in Turkey. Our distinguished faculty member and Congress Chair, Professor Dr. Batuhan Kocaoğlu, University Secretary General Mr. Bora Gündüzyeli, our supporters from İstanbul Topkapı University, and our dedicated research assistants for their invaluable contributions to making this event possible. I also wish to express my heartfelt appreciation to our keynote speakers, Professor Abi Gande, Professor Dr. Emel Aktaş, Dr. Selma Öner, Dr. İsmail Karakış, and Emre Türkmen for sharing their invaluable insights, and to all paper presenters whose research and dedication brings academic depth and diversity to this conference. Your participation truly enriches the scientific dialogue we aim to foster here. Let us make this congress, a space for connection between disciplines, between ideas, and between people. Thank you, and I wish you all a fruitful and inspiring congress.
Now, I am honored to invite to the stage our distinguished guest, Dr. Abi Gaç, Associate Professor in Supply Chain Management at Cranfield School of Management.
Is it on? Yeah, right. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be part of this 23rd Congress on Logistics and Supply Chain Management. We had a great start today morning from Professor Butman and Professor Mehmet taking you through in terms of the field of logistics and how the AI is influencing logistics and supply chain management. What I'm going to be really talking about, I'm just not sure. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to be really talking about is the topic of realizing the intelligent supply chains through digital transformation. Now, before I come to the topic itself, I'll just give a bit of background about myself. I work as an associate professor in supply chain management at Cranfield University. I've got around 17 years of research, teaching, consultancy experience in several sectors ranging from automotive, locomotive, and aerospace industry. So I've been involved with a lot of IT engineering service-based projects in terms of its implementation in several sectors. So that's brief about me. And what I'm really going to be talking, as I mentioned, is realizing intelligent supply chains through digital transformation. And before we get into trying to find the answer for this very specific research question, how can digital transformation make supply chains intelligent? Because clearly we are in the era of AI. Adaptive, because of the changing nature in terms of the disruptions what we are facing, quite volatile in terms of demand and supply uncertainties, at the same time increasing focus on sustainability. So how can we be more adaptable to those changes? But at the same time, we already know systems are autonomous at the moment, but how can we bring the human element and make it more agentic in its nature? So that's going to be the question what I'm really trying to address in this keynote. But before I come to that, let's look at the evolution of supply chain. We have seen a lot of fragmented supply chains, not really interacting with each other in terms of that reactive nature, just addressing challenges when they come. What has happened since that approach, we have moved more integrated in terms of sharing that information end to end in terms of supply chains, thanks to the enterprise resource planning, which helps in terms of data sharing across the supply chain nodes. Beyond that, what has happened is we have moved into more of a predictive supply chains where we are already seeing lots of data analytics being used, not just for descriptive analysis in terms of trying to find how the data looks like, but moving towards how the data is going to look like in the future. So predictive analytics is the shift what we are starting to see in terms of that predictive evolution of supply chain. And currently, when you look at with the emergence of Industry 4.0 or 5.0 technologies like Internet of Things, digital twins, we are clearly seeing a huge increased focus on autonomy and autonomous systems. So moving forward in terms of, before I jump on to really addressing this research question, lots of buzzwords really we have heard, and I'm sure as some of the students seeing here, you must have come across the words like digitization, digitalization, digital transformation. Several times we have seen people using them interchangeably. But the clear difference in terms of this is like digitization is whole process of converting these paper-based documents into digital, where you are converting analog information into digital, whereas digitalization is the process of utilizing these digital documents for improving your efficiency. Then might raise a question to you, what is then digital transformation? It's the whole outlook of businesses in terms of its improvement, be it in the digital spectrum or in a business spectrum. It's all about maybe even IT modernization, digital optimization, or maybe introduction of new business model altogether. We have clearly seen significant amount of drivers in terms of this digital transformation, ranging from clearly the growth of opportunities in new market, lots of supply chains transiting from traditional supply chains to digital supply chains. But at the same time, changing behavior of the consumers. Look at you when you are shopping now today. Probably you're not visiting to those malls, but preferring it to be purchased online. So shift in the behavior of consumers. But however, interestingly, according to McKinsey, 70% of digital transformation projects fail. And some of the underlying reasons for it are typically, as you can imagine, the resistance to cultural change, lack of vision by senior management, lack of investment opportunities, and maybe the maturity of the organization in terms of implementing those digital technologies. So when you look at, the whole spectrum of digital transformation, I think one thing we have to make it clear, it's not just about bringing a new technology within the organization. It's about looking at different opportunities or forms of digital transformation. As you can see here, the process transformation is realigning your business processes to make it efficient in terms of maybe reduced cost, increase maybe like efficiency, reduce lead time. It could be anything around manufacturing processes. We have seen a lot of use of autonomous robots, some classic examples of fully automated online retail chains in UK like Ocado, where you can see everything being fully autonomously managed in terms of the warehouse management. The business model transformation is an interesting another form of digital transformation, where what you see is it's that you are looking at a very finance specific sector, but trying to utilize the emergence of new advancements. So for example, I'm sure some of the professors here, which are quite old enough, might have listened to the music on cassettes and CD players. But today's next Gen Z students sitting here are no more actually storing that music. They are streaming the music, which clearly is a new business model transformation, what we are seeing. The domain transformation is all about transformation where you utilize the emergence of new domains altogether. So think about the conventional data sets, how they were being stored. Thanks to the cloud computing as an emerging domain, we are seeing a lot of options in terms of Amazon Web Services able to really store that data, but at the same time, request the softwares on demand. And that's what we are seeing as a domain transformation. And the final one goes back to the business transformation aspect of organizational mindset, the capabilities, the processes, which also needs to be taken into consideration when you're looking at this transformational journey. So in terms of how do you realize then digital transformation in logistics and supply chain management? Because that's the fundamental question, what must be coming to your mind. Yes, we have got this so many technologies. How to really have a step-by-step process of realizing this journey of digital transformation. At Cranfield, what we have been looking at is what are the fundamental technologies which really dictates this whole journey of digital transformation. And this particular question really brings us back to a very, very fundamental process of data management. When you think about a data management, what you do is you basically collect the data, you store the data, maybe even share the data, and then you analyze the data. So that's a very conventional step-by-step process what you follow. And following those principles, Internet of Things are the devices which helps you in terms of collecting huge amount of data autonomously without much human intervention. Cloud computing helps you in terms of storing that data. The older ERP systems or cloud-based ERP systems like Oracle Cloud, SAP S/4HANA, the latest platforms helps you to store that data securely as a third party. And then you have big data analytics with the application of artificial intelligence, machine learning, really enabling that. So very, very fundamental kind of approach in terms of how you can actually traditionally move from traditional businesses to digital supply chains. And what we have come as part of the research, what we have been doing at Cranfield is we recently came up with this particular report, which is a thought leadership report looking at digital transformation in manufacturing and supply chains, maturity assessment and improvement. It's available on Cranfield webpage, but what we have done is, although like every organization wants to be digitally transformed, but where do you start? What is your actual maturity within that, the digital transformation maturity framework is the first question what you really need to address before you can think about how you can actually move and become potentially a digital champion. So what you really need to bring in, as you can see here, is a lot of the fundamental, the capabilities, but also the relevant, capabilities like cybersecurity, the cultural shift, and the right kind of strategic vision in terms of sustainability and resilience. So bringing back this whole concept of these three fundamental technologies or capabilities, whatever you want to name it, you would see that in itself, that individual technologies actually create a huge amount of value. We don't have to integrate everything. AI is not everything. Like you can actually make a lot of information, a lot of value addition in supply chains using fundamental technologies from IoT itself. Look at some examples here where we can see the DHL modern warehouses use huge number of IoT devices to make their supply chains efficient in terms of avoiding health and safety issues, in terms of, like saving on energy, for example, or even like, planning their movement of goods within the warehouse. Similarly, you can see that modern sectors like, not modern sectors, but some of the sectors like pharmaceutical industry or food supply chains, which are very prone to limited shelf life and the temperature related concerns, they are using smart devices, the IoT sensors, which are giving the visibility, not just in terms of the temperature fluctuation, but also using the tools, IoT devices like GPS in terms of tracking of your consignment as they move across the global supply chains. Cloud computing, it's not just about moving from an enterprise-based servers to a cloud-based platform. Within the cloud computing itself, you have got so many different types of cloud computing variants where you can see that in the olden times, we have seen that most of your ERP systems were enterprise-based, like SAP S3, for example. What has been happening over the number of years now, over the last couple of years, is we are clearly seeing that shift in terms of cloud-based platforms as infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or a software as a service. And you can actually pick and choose depending upon your own requirement. So for example, everything used to be manually controlled. For example, in this, the clicker is slightly different to what I'm used to, but on premise, it's everything managed by yourself. When it comes to infrastructure as a service, what you're doing, you're still having a control in terms of your new application, operating system, but then those storage facility like AWS, Oracle Cloud is being taken care. When it comes to platform as a service, you have, again, operating systems are being managed by somebody else. You still have got control on your applications and data, like you might have come across, for example, Azure is one good example. Google Cloud, we have already seen that. And then when it comes to software as a service, this is where everything is completely managed by the service provider. You would be very surprised, the Gmail account, what you use, is actually a software as a service. Think about it. Do you bother about using different, browser? Do you bother about the capacity? Do you bother at what location you are? Do you bother about security for your mails? Nothing. Everything is taken care by those software as a service providers. And that's the kind of shift what we are going to be seeing in terms of the growth. When you look at the cloud computing, one thing what we take it for granted is the use of wireless technology like 5G. We use it, just take it granted like smartphones of today. But you would be very interested in knowing that we are already going to be seeing rollout of 6G by 2030. So we are not far away in terms of the 6G wireless communication technologies moving forward. We did hear much about it, and you guys use it on day-to-day basis. Even I have used ChatGPT. But what ChatGPT really does is a generative GPT, as GPT stands for like, the large language models. But already something is happening as a transformative within the space of artificial intelligence. Agentic AI is going to be the new version of those artificial intelligence. In generative AI, what we are able to do is we are able to potentially see all those like, the data being generated and synthesized. But in agentic AI, it's not just going to generate a new set of data, but actually going to assess your data or information and make decisions autonomously. And that's something is already happening. I've been working recently with a company called UiPact, and this is one of the API-based companies, and they are already using agentic AI to make certain decisions. So imagine you get an email for an invite to a similar conference like this. Your email will automatically generate a reply asking, can you provide me with more details? What kind of attendees are going to, or what kind of speakers are going to attend that particular conference, automatically sending email on behalf of you, which is relevant to that particular context. And that is where we are going to be seeing that agentic AI. We already started to see Amazon Go, Touch and Go, where you do not have any human interactions in terms of Amazon access, and similar other cobots and chatbots. Particularly in procurement sector, we are starting to see agentic AI applications where procureBots are able to take decisions in terms of raising purchase order, even negotiating contracts, which is quite a surprise in terms of this growing field of AI. Now, when you think about all these three important aspects brought together, what you generate is a completely new domain in terms of digital twin. And I'm sure you guys are not new to the concept of digital twin, but sometimes what we have seen is a lot of people actually confuse or maybe like mix simulation with digital twin. And in fact, both are not same. Because the key difference, when you look at the definition here, which we have come as part of, again, our research at Cranfield University, published in IJPR, is this particular aspect of real-time data. Your simulation doesn't have a real-time data. Your simulation also does not feed back the decisions to real world. And hence, there's a clear distinction what we need to really understand. And what we are starting to see, obviously, lots of information being pulled, digital twins helping in terms of providing the feedback to your system. A simple example, think about smart farming, where the farmer doesn't have to go to the farm and it will automatically switch on the water systems, or maybe even take decisions in terms of cultivation of the plants autonomously. And that's the digital twin what we are looking at. Some of the projects are quite ambitious, and when you look at this destination Earth, this is a European Union project. I feel it's quite ambitious because what they are trying to do is they are trying to build a digital twin of planet Earth, which is quite ambitious, I feel, in my personal view. But never know, you might be seeing the digital twin of planet Earth in the future. So in a nutshell, what you have to really understand, and this is like coming towards my kind of like concluding discussion, is when you're going to look at this whole journey of digital transformation, you need to really take into account some very, very crucial aspects in terms of what objectives are we trying to achieve as a business, what key principles needs to be brought together in terms of technology, in terms of organization. So think about that organizational cultural shift, the mindset of the company, and potential of developing those skill sets. Also think about the environment, which plays quite a critical role, because supply chains are not just one single firm. They are associated with lots of suppliers and customers, and all those has to be part of that ecosystem. So using that three kind of layered approach, you can then potentially achieve beyond the descriptive version of your decision making. So in a nutshell, if I had to wrap up this whole sort of discussion, is clearly what we are seeing is the future of supply chain is not just digital, it's not just AI, it's a lot more intelligent, lot more adaptable because of the human centricity aspect as part of the Industry 5.0, trying to focus not just bringing humans in loop, but also making sure that the sustainability and resilient approaches are tied in, and then also more agentic as we are likely to see in the future. And this whole process can be easily achieved by applying the fundamental principles of digital transformation. That's it from my end, guys. Thank you so much, and I'm open for questions. Any questions? Yes, please. Can we have the mic, please? Pass me the mic, please. I think you just need to switch it on.
For the inspiring speech.
Thank you very much.
İbrahim Uspeder, İstanbul Bilgi Üniversitesi, Department of Logistics Management. So you mentioned your professional experience in manufacturing, and you have explained the digital twin and digital transformation. So based on your experience in UK industry, so let's focus on defense, particularly NATO, the security concerns.
Right.
So we are UK and Turkey are allies. So how would you how would you train AI agents for procurement? So what is the question?
Okay.
So I am asking, you can answer generally for manufacturing industry,
As well
example
as
automotive, and specifically defense industry.
So absolutely, that's an excellent question. Thank you very much for raising that question. Now, I think when you're looking at particularly procurement in defense, and it's quite a specialized kind of area because, you know, it's quite secure in terms of the way how it really manages. Clearly, there has been some approaches by Ministry of Defense, for example, in UK, where they are trying to bring in the blockchain technology to secure the kind of transactions. But to answer your specific question on procurement of AI activities, before you come to the procurement side, what this defense sector is trying to do is build this, what we call our supply chain visibility towers. So trying to really bring all that information across the supply chain in terms of where your supplier base is, what sort of like products are being procured, what sort of geopolitical risks are involved in it. So fundamentally trying to bring that visibility through the supply chain towers. And that has been the kind of focus. In terms of procurement, again, what we have seen is for defense organizations, and this is specific to the UK, when they are likely to be approaching some of the potential suppliers, they have a completely separate database adhering to the sustainability standards as well as some of the quality standards which are required. And that really helps in terms of like making sure that they are approaching the right kind of supplier database without really opening up the wider supplier base due to the specific nature of defense sector.
Thank you. Well, so complementary question.
Yes, please.
So if that is the case, how should we supply chain visibility? Is one popular term.
Yeah.
So I am personally not so much skilled in supply chain mapping, so because I have not done engineering job in my professional career. So how should we as logistics management scholars so teach supply chain visibility to our industrial engineering students? Or is it supply chain mapping or is it something beyond? So how should we explain that?
Again, I think that's supply chain visibility is a very, very broad kind of word what we use, because we also synonymously use it with supply chain visibility, transparency, traceability. And we're just quite used to using this word. But I think fundamentally, when you look at it, it's all about like making sure that you have good understanding of what is going beyond your first point of contact. So beyond first tier, going all the way. So if you take the example of horse meat scandal, for example, the horse meat which was introduced into the beef across the UK retail chain, what really happened, it was like introduced at a 7th tier supplier. And clearly the businesses did not have that visibility. So when we talk about supply chain visibility, is having that end-to-end visibility about your business. So for example, Rolls-Royce as an engine manufacturer have got a full visibility all the way to the mines where those iron ore is, or maybe aluminum ores are mined. So that is the level of visibility what you really need to have a competitive advantage within this sector. I hope that answers your question. Thank you. Yes, please.
One question.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much for the presentation again.
Thank you.
My question is, for example, when we are analyzing our customers' data or our suppliers' data, we get insights and value. And think about a business model. We are selling the results, insights, again to our customer or supplier. So can we think that it's a part of digital transformation, a new business model? Can we categorize in that umbrella?
Yeah, no, again, a very relevant question. So all that, multi-purposing of the data for several decision-making beyond the one specific purpose or for which the data has been used is something now is a growing field where there's a huge amount of dark data, as we call it, is getting collected as part of the ecosystem, which is not conventionally very structured like ERP-based data information, but coming from your maybe social medias, maybe coming from your wider ecosystem, maybe coming even through the news channels. How can we actually bring that data all together, store it into data lakes, for example, and find the relevant data for making particular decisions? Obviously, there are concerns in terms of, like GDPR, like the General Data Protection Regulations, whether we can actually use it for multi-purposes. We do have to take, consent for that. But generally, I think, making use of this dark data is going to be hugely value-adding for businesses because it really takes into account the holistic view in terms of decision-making rather than very fixated on a specific structured nature of the data. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mohammed.
What do you think about blockchain application? Is it balloon or real useful tool?
No, absolutely. I think that this is again like a question which we usually get very commonly asked. In fact, I started with one very interesting research paper which has not been yet realized as a published version, but we started with blockchain. A hype or a real opportunity. That was the title, which was quite catchy in my view. But I think blockchain as a technology, although like very relevant to a Bitcoin and stuff, but as a technology in itself has got a huge potential for logistics supply chain management because the kind of characteristics what you see in blockchain from, like encryption facilities, like and ability to not, change the data or maybe making it secure in terms of its ability to decentralize it. These are quite unique characteristics which blockchain has. However, the problem in terms of like the mining activity within the blockchain and how do you convert that amount of energy utilization, the amount of resources required to really confirm the kind of transaction is still not being addressed within supply chain. So there has been some research in terms of how can actually move from proof of concept, a proof of consensus to like a proof of agreement or something of similar nature where you do not have to spend more amount of money in bringing everything on blockchain. So I think it's a growing field. It's more like an ERP 20 years back where people used to think that, oh, nobody's going to use like ERP systems. But today, if you look at it, most of the businesses, be it small, medium or large, use ERP systems. So blockchain might be something 20 years down the line, might become pretty much a common application within logistics supply chain management, not just for the data visibility, but also for data security. Yes, please. Right.
Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
As you know, the ownership of companies changed now.
Right.
Countries is in the different countries, buying the different countries' companies, and is in the factories change the locations.
Mm-hmm.
What is the impact of the data flow for the supply chain?
Right. So I think this is very relevant to recent Donald Trump's announcement of tariffs. And I think really the world was shaken when he introduced this huge amount of 50%, 100% of tariffs on the global supply chain. But what I personally believe is like, yes, these tariffs and any other implications on the businesses has to be really thought after carefully. you shouldn't really take like immediate decisions in terms of redesigning your supply chain just because the tariff is going to increase. What is becoming quite important in terms of data management, irrespective whether you take the decision, how can we actually secure the data and make it far more accessible to the organizations as a company. And that's becoming a prime focus. So no matter whether you change your locations, I think using the cloud-based platform, you can make the data far more secure and give it to the third parties in terms of better management of those decisions. So clearly, yes, the locations might change, but your servers and other things are again centralized, which are far more into a secure regions rather than the difficult regions which might be influenced by geopolitical or natural events. Thank you. Yes, please. Yeah, there are two questions. Who would like to go? I'm glad we have got a lot of questions, so I really enjoyed that, that part of it. Thank you.
Yavuz Günalay, Bahçeşehir University.
Thank you.
I would like to see your view about generative AI. You mentioned, for example, it will take the agents will take more active roles to even if an email comes to me for a conference, it will directly email and check. But regarding with Batuhan's question about the data base and data share, because it can even check, instead of sending the email, check who is attending or who is the organizer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you think that it will be a centralized generative AIs, like it will take care of all the things, or still we will have generative AI silos at different locations, so they have to talk to each other?
Yes.
Decentralized or centralized, which is the...
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. Like, what is going to happen, and this is my personal view again, like, is as we move towards more agentic AI, there will be lots of bits of the conventional artificial intelligence, including machine learning, the generative AI which like ChatGPT and similar ones, integrated within this agentic AI capability. So when you mentioned about this example, it's not going to directly just email because it wants to be autonomous. It will do sense check in terms of what is available within the online sources. So follows the generative AI approach, gets the basic information, and any information which is not available publicly will be something which might be requested as an action towards that kind of email generation, for example. So it will be integration and not just moving like fully autonomous. There will be like some form of like sense checking, and you may even have a human control in terms of like you can have the control in terms of which emails to be managed by agentic AI and which emails you want to have it handled personally. So there will be an access control as well, because the human-centric element is also quite critical when it comes to agentic AI. There's also growing focus, because you picked up on something, is European Union is significantly focusing on explainable AI, because one of the European Union's presentation, which I was listening to on the World Forum, is they were saying like, we want to understand what your algorithms are capable of. What are you really trying to analyze out of that data? We need to have that transparency, because there's lots of fake news and lots of, like other concerns which are associated with this kind of concern, this issue. There is a new emerging also field called as explainable AI, where the AIs needs to have a clarity in terms of what that algorithm is trying to do and what kind of inferences it is likely to derive. So explainable AI will be something in between generative AI, then explainable AI, and then the agentic AI.
But I guess United States is not willing to join this explainable AI.
I think there is a lack of focus, because we are already like, jumping into a next hoop of agentic AI, and hence there's not much focus. But if you look at computer science engineering department, there's a huge focus on explainable AI before they can actually transition to agentic AI. So one final question. I'm conscious of the time, so if you could pass it on. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
As autonomous vehicles, for example, drones, become widespread in logistics.
Right.
How should workplace transportation be managed?
Okay, that's a fantastic question. Again, what is happening, you might have seen in warehouses, we have started seeing two-dimensional robots. So the robots called as AGVs, autonomous ground vehicles, which are able to replace your conventional forklift trucks, for example. But then everything is still like managed through data. So we need to have those data centers. It's as somebody like, did actually pick up that it's not that we are going to be replaced by these machines. It's like the task, the conventional tasks, the commonly laborious tasks are going to be changed. So it's not going to take away your jobs, but your roles are likely to be changing, where you might be actually a drone operator, or maybe somebody who is designing drones, or potentially like managing the digital warehouses. So your roles are likely to be changing, although you are going to use those, like drones or whatever, like kind of technological advancement. So I think that's what is going to be really happening, and not going to just replace humans for sure. Thank you. Right. Are we okay to have 2 more questions for the organizing committee? Huh? We have time? We can have 1 question maybe?
Yeah, we have time.
We have time? Okay. So please, no, I just want to make sure that I don't take lots of time here. Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Idil, and I'm interested about supply chain visibility and supply chain risks. I wonder about in your projects or in your past, what were the key challenges and risks?
Supply chain risk and resilience. Yeah.
Except from the data security.
Right. No, absolutely. I think that's a very good question.
And how did you overcome them?
Yes. I think what we are seeing is like there are no more conventional risks now. If I could give, this goes back to my own PhD research, so I'm very passionate about it, is if you look at the conventional supply chain risks, they have been far more like less in frequency and less in impact. And the whole probability matrix of high impact, high probability is no more functional. Because look at pandemic. Pandemic is a low probability, but high impacting incident. So what you think on the 4th quadrant of that risk management matrix doesn't work in today's function. So we have to start having a different outlook altogether when it comes to looking at the modern supply chain risks. What we are really seeing is the growth of geopolitical risks, climate change risk, which has been there for a number of years, but it is becoming far more now prominent. The other emerging field, which when we are talking about all about technologies, we tend to forget the cyber element, and the cyber risk is becoming quite a prominent risk altogether. So in terms of mitigation strategies, if I could just pick up on the cyber risk, for example, we have to think about zero trust policy. Think about your mobile phones. When you access your Outlook, you have got double authentication, which basically means that even if you are dean, we do not trust you as the dean of the university. You have to go through the authentication process to access your emails from the university. And these are some of the strategies like blockchain for security, encryption capabilities, maybe even training and certifications, standardization is quite helpful, and even information sharing. Because one question which I commonly get asked in the forums when I go and speak is, should we or should we not share your cyber attack for your organization? What do you think, guys? Should we or should we not? We should actually. Because yes, it might have some negative implications in short run, but in a long term, it starts to create a huge amount of trust and loyalty of the consumers attached to your organization, because it helps in terms of building that trust, saying that similar nature will not happen in the future. And if you really hide anything, like the Volkswagen cheat software, if you guys know Dieselgate, classic case of Dieselgate, where Volkswagen has been hiding the carbon emissions in US, was applied with a huge amount of US penalty because they were just trying to hide something which was consumers were unaware of it. So generally, like, these are the challenges, and I'm conscious of the time. I'm not going through all the mitigation strategies, but you can imagine what might be the typical solutions going forward. One final question, please. Okay. Thank you.
I have another question about the first topic of mine. Okay, this kind of the change is in also the reshape the dynamics of the industry.
Yes.
And isn't the people have a data and they work and they make a future plans. But this kind of change isn't the change change the dynamics. Is any quick solutions about that, because isn't the people's work too much and they take the data and research the data and make a plan, but everything is a change.
Yeah.
There is any method for the quick solution about this kind of the change?
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, when you want to generate the value, there is no shortcut. What you might have heard that almost 60 to 70% of the time invested in terms of decision making actually involves with data cleaning, data formatting, data structuring, and identifying the right kind of platform. So I think to answer your question, there is no shortcut. But then you might have to be using the right kind of data mining softwares, data mining tools, which will help you to convert, let's say, this unstructured dark nature of data far more quickly and efficiently into structured and, user-friendly format. And that is the only option, because if you could reduce that 70% of the time consumed in terms of getting the data right, then you can actually, make your whole process far more efficient in terms of decision making. Thank you very much. Right. Okay. Lots of questions, but I really enjoyed your questions. Thank you once again for attending this keynote speech. It's been my pleasure to come to the Topkapı University, and thanks to the Loader for organizing this fantastic conference. Thank you once and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. To present Sublink Donation and Certificate of Appreciation, I would like to invite our Vice Rector, Professor Dr. Berrin Ataman, and our Dean, Professor Dr. Ercan Geges, to the stage. Welcome, everyone. Now we are continuing with our program. Let's give a warm welcome to the stage for Dr. İsmail Karakış, Partner in Supply Chain Services at PwC Management Consulting.
Hello, and welcome to everyone. I hope that today and tomorrow will be a very good and efficient congress, and I'm very happy to be here. Just for a quick introduction, my name is İsmail Karakış. I'm leading the supply chain services in PwC Management Consulting, Turkey. Actually, all about this AI and technology and, resilience, sustainability, and so trends are really very affecting the supply chains. But today I would like to give you some insights and analysis from our perspective, as well as you may know that PwC conducts so many different types of research and analysis reports type of documentation or thought leadership documentation. And we have recently have a study published with the support of Microsoft for EMEA region. And I would like to give you some brief information and outcome of this study. I think it will be fitting the agenda and also the topic and focus area of the this Congress. As PwC, we put a future of the supply chain vision at 2025. And we said that the future of the supply chains will be connected, autonomous, and will be acting as ecosystem. So there are three main elements of the new vision. So this is connected, means that digital. Secondly, these are the autonomous, means that, affecting the fast and efficient decision making, which is also focusing on the AI capability. And thirdly, this will be kind of an ecosystem. It is not only the individual production company or a couple of the strategic suppliers, etc. So at that point, we always mentioned that, and also we are now living in this stage. I mean, we are now 2025. We are, approaching the final stage of the 2025, and we see that yes, most of the supply chains are transformed or are being transformed into digital, connected, autonomous. We are talking so much about AI, and this is enabling our autonomous part of the supply chains. And also, we are always treating it as a kind of an ecosystem for many industries. So, the world is shaping, and some industries also are reshaping their supply chains. And we said that the conventional or the regular supply chain leader, let's say, have been mainly focusing on three things. So it is kind of a triangle. So first one is the cost, of course. Second one is the quality. And the third one is the service. So this is a triangle that we always put a kind of an optimization, put a kind of a balance or about the supply chain management. And now we are adding the three other dimensions. So this triangle is becoming a kind of a hexagon, which is making the things and the words more complex. So this one is the agility. Second one is the resilience, and also this sustainability. And the technology or the digital or connected supply chains are actually on the heart of this, because if we would like to make a resilient supply chain, then of course we would like to have a degree of digitalization in the supply chain to ensure that we are going to remain resilient for the coming risk factors or for the coming changes or turbulences or anomalies about the external environments. Of course, if we are talking about the sustainability, we need to measure our carbon emissions and so on. So, of course, we need again data and data analytics in order to gain insights about this. And if we are saying that the agility, of course, we need to respond to the market in a very rapid way and in a most efficient way. So it is also requiring a forward-looking agenda. If there is a change in the market, then we, of course, we need to foresee this and act it accordingly. So it is also requiring a level of digitalization. And digital twins, we already mentioned about and discussed about digital twins, AIs, control tower type of approaches or terminologies. But if we are managing the supply chains for a forward-looking mode, and if we are willing to manage the supply chains in these 6 areas, we have to get digitalization and AI support on this. And this is really very crucial about to develop a control tower, because we are going to measure with our supply chain. We are going to make some scenario planning for the future of supply chain. So what kind of things that occurs on what if analysis type of things, and also take the decisions in a more accurate and efficient way. So there are, you see 6 different types of core capabilities of this supply chain brain. It's something like the simple brain. So first one is trace, because we need to make the visibility. Second one is view, and we would like to see and calculate the impact of the supply chain events and foresee the events and act accordingly. On the other hand, we would like to have some simulation capabilities, optimization capabilities, and automation capabilities. So it is not only enough to make the efficient or correct decision, it is also, it is also very important to ensure that this decision is the most optimized decision. So we need to test it, if possible, before take this decision. So we need to make some simulations and we need to make some scenario planning around this. And when we come to AI and AI-enabled control tower or digital twin, whatever it is called, you see it is, looking for the entire supply chain from end-to-end or holistic perspective, and also proactively processes optimization opportunities. So it will help us about what is going on the network and what should be taken as a measure for the incoming events or for the potential events, important events or risky events that we should consider. So you see that visibility, and then, for example, this is just an example, and then make some stock or maybe the demand supply analysis for this. Of if there is any problem, any shortage about this, then there is a red flag, and then we can sit and work together with our teams and with our stakeholders to mitigate these risks and make our emergency plan, whatever. So, we are always used to, living with the risks for different environments, but because when we take the global studies, I always look at the risk part, and risk part is always one of the key parts. And when I'm looking at the the local part, risk is going down. So I believe that we are a little bit used to working with some kinds of risks always. So because of that reason, we can mitigate the risks, but on sometimes we are just skip this part, and the risk is becoming a crisis, and then we have to deal with the crisis. So why do we talk about AI? Actually, AI is not a new thing. You all know that. So from 1956, we have been talking about artificial intelligence, but what makes it most popular is generative AI, because it is very easy to implement. It is very easy to utilize, and also these are just affecting our daily life. So generative AI is making this popularity, and there is always a technology hype cycle of different technologies. Some technologies are firstly grow, and then the popularity declines, and then again the technologies are becoming more popular. The scientists or the researchers are saying that there are 3 exceptional cases for this hype cycle. The first one was the computers. I mean, we don't have any time that computers are declining, and we gave up the computer usage, etc. The second one is the internet. And the third one is they are saying that the AI. So AI is not going to down about the hype cycle. It is always going up and up, because different technologies are also progressing at each year. So a couple of comments or outcomes from our global studies. When we come to emerging technologies, including generative AI and the other parts of the AI, 70% of the CEOs worldwide, this is from our global CEO survey, it is more than 4,000 CEOs globally are participating in the survey, said that generative AI will significantly change the way their company creates, delivers, and captures value. So it is one of the agenda item of the CEOs. And when we look at the supply chain leaders, 32% of the supply chain leaders says that evolving their digital workforce is a top priority. So AI is always changing our way of working. And when we look at, again, the CEO comparison for Turkey and for global, most probably the trends are in parallel to each other. I'm not going to read everything here, but I would say that, the level of agree, as you see the yellow bars and the percentage, will always increasing for the future. So if we are talking about current or next 12 months, for example, generative AI improve the quality of my company products and services, it is more or less the 50-60%. And when we come to the next 3 years, it's globally increasing 10%. So when we are looking at the future, we see that the generative AI will get or will have much more impact on our supply chain operations. There are so many different types of technologies, by the way. So each requires a kind of an investment. So we need to be careful about the cost and benefit analysis of these investments. We are talking always the AI. For example, everybody is, willing to save something on AI, but it is not, when we talk about most of the clients that we understand or we realize that the solution for the problem is not even AI. It is much more simpler than that. So we need to be careful about this, because if you invest some money on the AI and this advanced type of technologies, and then if it is not going to solve the problems, or it is not going to have a significant impact on your businesses or results, then it is very hard for the cultural perspective. It is very hard to get the acquisition of the other technologies in the same company. So many different types of technologies. And these are all, of course, beneficial. And of course, there are some advantage of this. But for the supply chain perspective, we need to make the analysis and a kind of a strategic thinking about which technology is the most important for us or most required for us in the first place. And sorry about this. Here the AI is also one of the disruptive technologies, for sure. Blockchain, robotics, digital twins, and digital decision intelligence systems. And it is not only about the, the procurement or, the distribution, logistics, or manufacturing part. It is covering for all supply chain functions. And also we published another study. This is also covering the first slide that I showed you, Supply Chain Trends 2030. The previous study is, creating a vision for future of the supply chains 2025, because it was published in 2000. And we are looking forward for the next 5 years. And it was before pandemic, and we don't know about anything about the pandemic. And now we are developing it or building up it and saying that the vision of the supply chains for 2030, it is called Reinventing the Supply Chain 2030. So it is just accessible from our website. So you can just search it and download it. When we look at this survey report, the report is segmenting the companies across 4 different dimensions or segments or groups regarding to their maturity level for digital adoption. So the first layer is the digital novice. The second layer is the digital follower. The third one is the digital innovator. And the fourth one is the most advanced one, is the digital champion. So you see here the digital champions and all survey respondents. So this bottom part is showing us the digital champions. And the question is, how would you evaluate the below the technologies in terms of addressing the rate trends for your company? So, what kind of digital technologies that these companies are using for their supply chain operations. For example, digital twin, everybody is aware of that. It is high impact in the next 1 or 2 years. AI, and for the all survey respondents in general perspective, you see high impact in the next 1 or 2 years, but the impact is increasing to 40% in 2030. And decision intelligence systems, robotic systems, and even blockchain, it is hard to implement, of course, but it is a very useful technology, and it is very relevant for the supply chain, in my opinion. But it is hard to manage, although this is the fact that the expectation is double from 6% to 20%, 12%. When we look at the digital champions part, you see also a similar picture, but in a more aggressive mode. So it is very obvious that we are going to have to tackle with these technologies. And 39% of all companies recognize AI's long-term value. So there is no doubt that AI is going to change our life. AI is going to change our supply chain management. And of course, we need to get benefits from this technology. And again, another study that recently published in, I think in April of this year, for just EMEA region, more than 400 companies across the different industries. And about the AI in operations. It is not only maybe supply chain, but mainly the supply chain. Because when we say operations, there are also different parts like R&D or other parts. Again, you see here the segmentation, novice, flowers, innovations, and champions. We say that 71% have not started with AI or at very early stages. So everybody is aware of that. And everybody is just starting doing something in AI, but it is just exploring phase. They are just trying to explore what is in it for me about the AI. How can I implement this? So there are more to go for this. Only the 29% of the companies are integrated and scaling AI, and most of them are digital champions. And they are not, giving up. They're always extending, they're always scaling the AI capabilities or technologies for different problem solutions or, in order to advance the solution of the problems. So there is no, stop about this. So when we look at this part, followers, innovators, and champions, you see it is more or less more than the 50% of the all companies are already started doing something. But anybody is not, for anybody, it is not late. So I think we will be still discussing the different features of AI or different use cases of AI for supply chain management, for the near future as well. Supply chain leaders, need to catch up quickly and make bold decisions. You consider the global and the local developments around the world about the supply chain related issues. Risks and there are different types of conditions or continuously changing. So they cannot afford to wait and see how AI evolves before setting out their AI strategy. You see the trends here, and the trends are really very, clicking with the trends that I already showed as the first slide. You see here cost pressure, green and sustainability, workforce upskilling, geopolitical conflicts. So we are saying that the time to revolutionize their business in terms of digital transformation for supply chain. It is also enabling us to have a more resilient and sustainable supply chain. And it is a little bit more interesting part that AI is also expected to have some profitability impacts according to the respondents from the survey report. So you see here, 11% of the companies or the leaders are saying that P&L has a positive impact of 10% and above by 2030 by using AI. And 29% is maybe 6 to 10%. And another 28% is 3 to 5%. So when we sum up, it is nearly 70%. So 70% of the participants expect to increase their operating profit margin by at least 3%. So I know that it is very hard to even increase the profit margin. Even 1% is really very hard to manage or hard to achieve. So 3% at least, very conservative. It is obvious that we need to think about this AI functionality for our supply chains. Of course, optimism is the highest in the retail and consumer goods industries. This is also because of some generative AI type of works. But for example, automotive, aerospace, and defense, these are much more conservative because the way of working and the business model is a little bit different for these industries. And again, pharmaceutical and life sciences and medical technology had the most difficult to predict potential P&L impact because they are all very actually regulated industries. So it is also some other dependent variables. And another interesting point for this study outcome is, that always supply chains are treated as cost centers because supply chains are always consuming the resources. That's what we used to know till pandemic. But after pandemic, we recognize or we think that supply chain management function in the company is not a cost center anymore. It is becoming to be treated as a profit center because it is also affecting the sales part. It is hard to measure it, but the ratio of the people that are believing this are increasing year by year. So you see here the total value levers of AI and you see the cost reduction part. Yes, this is not a surprise. But when we talk about the revenue growth, this is also, you see, 31% of the people saying that increased sales and delivery volume, 26% of the people saying that new revenue from products and services, because AI or these digital technologies are enabling for product development, for R&D, which is also has been tackling with AI maybe before supply chain function. And this is all creating efficiency. This is all creating an efficient way of working. And it is also providing some, for example, stock availability. If we, if we foresee the future, if we foresee the demand better, if we, forecast the demand better, and if we are able to put the required stock or demanded stock within the right place, within the, right cost, at the right place, at the right time, so AI also can predict this for us, and also we can also steer our wholesalers, distributors, and the sales channels players accordingly. Because these sales channels players are always requesting some stock or products from us, but they are just doing their own, how to say, demand forecasting or demand planning, and it is based on mainly instinctions and also the experience that they have been doing. But when we look at this on the AI platform, we can also say that you are requesting these type of goods from us, but we don't believe that they are going to be able to sold. Instead of this product A, we offer you the product B because as the whole company, we see that product B is going to be much more demanded. So also we can steer our sales channels accordingly, and this is also clicking the supply chain functionality. We say also soft value levers here, improved decision making and some soft efficiency gains, which are not also surprised. And this may be the cost reduction. Where is it coming from? It is coming from the mostly operational areas. So it is also affecting us, the supply chains, because, supply chain is considered as the consuming the operational resources mainly. And when we look at the AI investments for the future, you see here investments in the AI per year, and some parts of the amounts are, it seems that it is decreasing a bit, but mainly you can see on the overall next 3 years, AI investments will be increasing. Companies are almost doubling the AI investments, and the most advanced AI companies are investing 20% more in AI solutions and for the others, and than the others on average. And small and mid-sized companies are investing greater because the biggest ones or the big companies have been already working with AI. But now it is it's coming from the middle and small-sized companies. And when we look at the return on AI investments, significant financial benefits and return on investments, 4%. 13% is saying break-even reached financial benefits. Almost 30% is saying that some financial benefits, but 38% are some soft benefits. So soft benefits, as you may recall, that it is about the decision-making, better decision-making, fast decision-making, efficient decision-making. It is even worth to have this capability today's supply chain world, which is very complex and getting more complex. It is also worth to invest AI, even for this specific reason. So no benefit, 14%, which is a bit surprised, but of course there can be some other opinions about this. And when we look at the supply chain, procurement, production, and R&D type of the world, about the use cases until 2030, you see that supply chain demand forecasting, supply chain planning, and inventory optimization is the most popular topics. This is not surprised because we have been tackling with AI for these type of problems, maybe for the last 10 years. But the thing is that the procurement is, the ratio of the procurement is increasing. It is a bit surprised and interesting result for us. For example, risk management, supplier selection, onboarding and supplier management, and category strategy development. If we have this meeting and the presentation, for example, 4 years ago, most probably we never mentioned anything about the category strategy for digitalization. We just ignore it. But now, depending on the developments of the new technologies, of course, focusing on AI, and we are saying that AI is now enabling us to provide strategic decisions, strategic proposals, and suggestions. So the procurement is also a very important area that we can say the biggest potential for AI. It is sounding good to have AI, but of course, there are some problems, issues about the usage of the AI in an efficient mode. When we look at the challenges, you see here there is a huge gap about the first one and the second one, data quality. So data quality is really very important for enable the AI solutions. The companies are willing to have something in place with AI, but they firstly think about the data because, you need to train AI. So if we have the data, which has a high quality, accurate and historic data, so it will give us much more efficient results. IT and data security concerns, this is a general concern because when you become more digital, so the main problem is the cyber and so on, IT and data security concerns are coming. And the third one is also the data availability. So everything is related much more about the data. So how or where, from where we can start and how we can start this journey and transformation about transforming our supply chains under the, AI, world. When we look at the AI champions, there are 4 principles that they are following to succeed this AI-enabled supply chain topics. First one is define a clear AI strategy for operations that is aligned with your overall business goals and technology strategy. This is the biggest, I see that, almost most of the companies, almost all of the companies have nothing about this AI strategy. So they are just coming us, okay, I would like to use AI in this year for my supply chain. What do you recommend us? Is there any strategy? Yes, we have some strategy. Is there any strategy related to technology side? Because we need technology people in order to make it sustainable for AI usage. So the strategy part is very important. Secondly, focus on the use case, but the use case are limited. Always, it's a kind of a library that can save our time, so that can accelerate our projects or our, solutions in terms of development times. But this is not a plug-and-play type of use case. So it is just the idea that, okay, somebody has already tried something about this topic, so it is manageable or it is realistic to do something like this. But then you need to modify the use case. So, of course, it is very good to follow the use cases, but it doesn't mean that if there is no use case, it doesn't mean that AI is not applicable for this problem. So we need to, again, think a little bit strategically. Build a strong technology and data foundation. It is a really very good or required level of maturity, and emphasize a strong organizational structure and robust AI governance. So it is not the one-time thing. You set up the AI, you set up the control tower, but you need this somebody or some people that will take care of this control tower. They will be managing this control tower in terms of updates, in terms of new features, in terms of developing new functionalities or, advancing its capabilities. And of course, make the necessary actions or take the necessary actions with the key stakeholders. So the other problem is that it is very important to make it sustainable when you put an AI or when you put a digital technology to manage your supply chains. You can download it via website and also by scanning this QR codes. It's just open to public, so you can also download and have a look at the report if you want for further details. And I would like to thank you for listening to me and again for the invitation and for being here today with you. Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Thank you very much for the presentation. One question in AI or digital transformation applications, we see that there's a talent gap in digital technologies. What is your advice or Rice's advice when you see a gap? What could be the basic strategies? Education, training, or more? And we would like to see your opinion.
Okay, thank you for the question. First one is to create awareness about this and to create the right definitions and terminology to change the mindsets. First of all, I mean, if anybody is coming to me and saying that I would like to do something in AI for our supply chain or for emerging technology for our supply chain, we first have a kind of a even one-day session for them to explain what is AI, what is emerging tech, and just have them starting to think about mentally these type of different technologies, and these are the potential use cases and problems. So they started to think about which technology can be applicable for his or her daily life, because there are so many different terminologies and misleading information about this, So first one is that it's a kind of an education and awareness session. And after that, we need to have people thinking in that way. And after a while that, of course, everybody is aware of their problems. And then they started to thinking in that way. So saying that, okay, I have a problem. Is it suitable for AI? Again, I conducted so many workshops around this for even bigger companies or even the biggest conglomerates of the country. And most of the problems, the most or highest priority problems are even not related to AI still, by the way. But of course, they can leverage the AI technologies, or they can, upskill their digital knowledge accordingly, and sometime later, some part of the problems will be converted to the AI solutions. I don't know if this answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't... Soru var mı? Evet.
Thank you for your presentation. What do you think is the greatest risk? You mentioned about the risks at the beginning of your presentation. What do you think is the greatest risk awaiting supply chains, especially those that operate in Turkey, mainly in Turkey? What's maybe one of the greatest risks that you care, that you focus on? And how can AI or any one of the digital technologies can help be ready for this risk, specifically for this risk?
Okay, the question is about Turkey or global?
Global, but I want you to. I'm actually more curious about the supply chains, that part of supply chains in Turkey that operate in Turkey, for Turkish companies, for our companies.
Okay, Turkish companies, risks for supply chain.
Türkiye'de değer yaratan şirketler için nasıl bir çözüm olabilir bu risklere hazırlanmak?
Okay, the risks are always changing. and mainly increasing, unfortunately. But some risks are remaining the same, but the level of importance for some of them are really very, increasing. For now, the main part is, from the both global and also local economic conditions. So about the cost pressure. This is one thing. So it's a very good competitive advantage for us in terms of country. But for some industries, I see that the cost advantage of the country is, how to say, decreasing. So everybody is very focusing on the costs, and the cost risks are, the risks behind the cost pressure are, there are so many of this. But for Turkey, I can say the cost pressure, and of course, there are different things about the inflation. It is also uncertainty, inflation, and so many different global developments. There are some wars, there are some limitations, economic tariffs, for example. It is all affecting the supply chain. It's not only affecting our country, but it's also, the integrated system. So some country is affected, and then we are also a part of this, are affected. And in order to mitigate risks, actually, I would say that risk management for supply chain or suppliers should be designed and put into place. It is not only for the financial risks, because I believe that financial and operational risks are already managed by the people in the company. I'm more focusing on the sustainability of the supplying, because if there is a disruption, we need to foresee this, and this disruption about the economical, political, geopolitical, and or any strategic levels of the things that we are not able to manage, or we are not able to change, or we are not able to touch. Let's say we are not able to change it. So be aware of this is mainly the main thing for Turkey, because we are always focusing on the operational and financial risks. Yes, of course. I think maybe the two questions, but...
Thanks, Ismaila. I particularly liked your presentation where you mentioned about supply chains are no more seen as cost centers, but value-adding functions. So that's really reassuring from the industry point of view as an academic working for the university. But my question to you is regarding this digital champion. You mentioned like the companies which are digital champion are likely to scale and expand on the use of technology, in this case AI. You also talked about 4 principles to achieve that digital championship. But what are specific things some of the digital champion companies are doing? For example, Microsoft or maybe like Apple. What different they are doing apart from scaling and expanding the existing technology? Thank you.
Yeah. When I look back, for example, to the 3 years past period of time, these type of technology companies are, developing their capabilities on this. Some parts are developing in-house, and some companies are also make some M&A activities about this and just acquiring the companies, because there are so many startups type of, even the technology or AI related companies. So most of the things are now at the idea phase maybe. But the technology part, I'm not a so technical guy, by the way. So I'm not, able to comment about these different, platforms about AWS, Azure, whatever. I'm not so familiar with that. But from functional or, operational perspective, they are always, trying to create some more solutions around this, and also creating the partnership. I see that this also the ecosystem they are working on. And even sometimes I read some news on internet, for example, Google is making or using this technology, and it makes Google another company, you know, and or Apple, for example. But in my opinion, this type of technology projects, or you know, the strategies, you also know, I guess, very well, that it is not only about the technology companies. I would like to emphasize this, because the technology companies are always responsible for setting up the technology and making it up and running. But the thing is that, you know, you have a very luxury car, but depending on your way, depending on your driving style, and depending on your readiness about to, you know, utilize or getting the benefits from this car, may change significantly. So I give so much importance to that part as well, because technology is, I think, going to grow in any way. I don't know if this answers your question. Bir sorunuz var mı? Actually, I try to say that all of different technologies require some investment in terms of time and money. So it is a very luxury situation that we have all of this in the picture at the same time. So I would suggest having a kind of a roadmap and also prioritized use cases for different technologies, and start from the one that is creating much more impact for the business, regardless of their cost. So it is maybe the costly, but on the other hand, there is a cost and also the benefit. So we need to carry out the cost-benefit analysis and focus on or start from the most important one from these aspects, because otherwise, I mean, you put a very fantastic technology and it is working, but you know, the impact is relatively low, and everybody in the company, unfortunately, including the C-level or the, you know, the stakeholders in the company, are, you know, giving the negative energy about the technology. And it is making a hard for this culture to change the acquisition for the new technology. So everybody is, you know, creating or developing a prejudgment about, okay, I mean, you invest lots of money on this technology, but, you know, nothing happened. In order to avoid this case, I would say, first, we need to make an analysis about the cost and benefits. About the future. No, long term, mid term, and short term. I mean, the strategy on the roadmap and priorities, you know, should contain about not only the short term, mid and long term as well. And these priorities may change also. For example, for this year, I put it in an, you know, in a mid term, but next year, depending on the environmental changes or some parameters are changing, it may become a much more higher priority thing.
Do we have any question? I think no. Thank you for your presentation. To present Sublink donation and certificate of appreciation to Dr. İsmail Karakış, I would like to invite Congress Chair Professor Batuhan Kocaoğlu to the stage.
Teşekkür ederiz. Sağ olun, teşekkürler.
Şöyle nasıl yapalım?
Buyurun.
Teşekkürler.
Teşekkürler.
And now, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. From Şecam, please welcome to Advisor to CEO, Dr. Selma Öner.
So the hard time is mine. It's before lunch. So I think that I must talk other things other than supply chain, huh? Maybe philosophy, art. I tell you not sports, maybe art, maybe philosophy. I told you. So, first of all, who am I? I'm Selma Üner. Right now, I'm advisor to CEO in Şişecam, but my former role was the Chief Supply Chain Officer in Şişecam. I am 25 years, more than 25 years in Şişecam, but before, I was a student of Prof. Mehmet Tanyaş in Istanbul Technical University, and afterwards, I was in Boğaziçi University. My PhD was in Boğaziçi University. PhD was on nonlinear stochastic models in inventory, so that's supply chain. So I like resilience right now. So after my dear academicians and Ismail Bey, we talk a lot about AI and also digital transformation. Yes, we talk about the resilience and many questions about the risk management. Yes, there are many risks right now. And in Şişecam, after COVID and before COVID, there were many global risks. And Şişecam is a global company, for sure, with suppliers, with customers. I will tell a little about Şişecam, but not more. I will go to the next gen resilience story after 2020. And 2030, mostly. Resilience is another era after 2030, mostly, because resilience is very important to the companies. Resilience is sustainability. Resilience is the financials of the companies. How to stand up, how to survive. Resilience of supply chains is the new era of the companies, of the global companies. So that's why the name of this presentation is Resilience is the Art of Retaining Grace While Transforming. Doctor, you have said that only 30% of the companies succeeded the digital transformation. We have succeeded the base of the digital transformation. We are in 14 countries, 45 plants all around, and we have transported the SAP for transformation with PwC, by the way. Yes, we have succeeded that, but now we will build up the AIs and the decision systems. And believe me, it's not very easy, for sure. So that, during that, there was COVID. After that, many tensions. There was the Red Sea, there was the China, there was the Russia, and you know that the Palestinian tension, right now it's not a tension war, of course. So many things all around, and we are coming to the tariffs and the other things I will show you. So as a supply chain officer, every day something was happening. And also, every morning I come and we are going to upstairs. What will we do? Really, what will we do? So you must adapt to the new challenges every day, every month, every executive committee. So that's the summary. That's why I'm talking about the resilience. Sorry, but this one. Yes, I said that I will talk about art. So, what's this? By the way, supply chain, I say that really, you have said that it's not anymore a cost structure. In the companies, they are saying that it's a value creation center. Yes, so-so, let's say. Not as before, yes, but still, it's the cost center. But it will transform for sure. But I'm saying that the logistics and the supply chain, we can name it the silent architecture of trust. Because you need communication, you need the collaboration, and really you need cooperation between the suppliers, between the partners, and you need the cooperation between the customers. If you don't have the trust, if you don't have the right data, you cannot do anything. In COVID, we see so. The integration, the systems doesn't work if you don't have trust. Human is the base. With data, with systems, everything stops. If you don't trust, you must trust. So the blockchain and everything, the basis is the trust. So I name it silent architecture of trust, really. The basis is this. So I'm telling, I invite you to pause and think a moment. How we make resilience not a strategy, but a culture. It's not very easy, really. Resilience as a culture in a company, other than KPIs, other than a department, really it's not easy. Because they say that, okay, let's measure the risk. Bring us the KPIs. It's not that. Really, it's not that. Because it must be the company structure and it must be the company culture, overall the ecosystem. So why did I put this? This marble is named Veiled Virgin, and it's the symbol of unification in Italy. It's the 19th century. The Italians believe that this is the symbol of unification. Why? As you see, really, this is very different. And they say that the marble sculpture reminds resilience is not visible, grace under pressure. The art lies resisting the strong, but the transferring with the artist. The structure and the soul really unified together. Because you see that every detail is hidden under the veil. Fragility and strength, it's like the supply chains. So we know that the customers doesn't know anything if it flows normally. But anything happens, then they started to cry. So really it shows that the veiled virgin maybe is the supply chain. If it flows, everything flows right. Yeah, another thing from philosophy right now. I think that for resilience, these are correct also. Let's go to Greece. Aristotle said that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I think that that applies. Yes, we say that the supply chain integration right now means everything. What I mean that for resilience, we need each node, each company, each system recognizes their roles. We must connect them. And we name it, we must put a purpose over them. So, as Mr. Karakash said, we must interconnect them. So he said, centuries ago. Let's come to Seneca. As the stochastic background, I love it. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunities, he says. He doesn't, I think, believes there is luck. So I say that today's volatile world, resilience is readiness. It's not predicting the future anymore. It's preparing to adapt when it happens. I think that from 2030, we must adapt to what happens. It will be too hard to forecast what will happen. Really, it started from COVID. It's really hard to what happens. Every day something happens. This is from Mahfi Eğilmez, a very important economist in Turkey. He put a global uncertainty index, but he take it from the world uncertainty index. As you see, from COVID, now the world index is like this. This is the uncertainty index. So this is the uncertainty. I don't believe, and he doesn't believe that this will change. So this is the new era. We must plan accordingly. This is the uncertainty. So we must say that, okay, we must adapt ourselves. Like Seneca, I think. So what can the companies or the ecosystem can do? This is the question. Now, I'm returning. What were the risks? Now, as a global company, we are in US, we are in India, Europe, of course, Turkey, Russia. So everywhere, the inflation rates, the lower growth, of course, China is affecting everywhere. So China has risks and has potential. USA, every day, changing the tariffs, one day saying one thing, then saying another thing. The energy prices really was an era. After COVID, every year changed a lot in the European side, and we have many factories there. And polarized world. So for Russia, for example, we have many factories there. So what you will do? You cannot send anything from Europe to Russia. And we have suppliers in Europe. So we changed the supplier base totally for Russia, for example. So there are black swans for the future. And for, I think McKinsey is saying that, sorry, gray rhinos, silver linings. So you have some opportunities, you have some threats, whatever. So you are every day trying to understand what's happening. So Şişecam, who is Şişecam? As I said, over 10,000 suppliers, as I said, 14 countries. We have near 6,000 routes, customers 4,000, and nearly 130 warehouses. Some are inside, some are outside, and over 2 million square depot areas. So as we look at the supplier base, it's everywhere, not only one area, so it's spread around. So when you are trying to manage something, really, you must have the data, and you must be linked to them in some way, otherwise you stop. Yes, what I mean with resilience as a culture. So we are saying that resilience is shifting to proactive reinvention. These are from the Gartner's sayings, by the way. So you must have from the ecosystem a shared purpose and trust. The decade ahead will test not the system, but the shared values. The shared values is the key. In 2020, pandemic shock, then we gave the reaction. So the dual sourcing, everybody found suppliers, alternative suppliers. So we found the suppliers, not only China, not only Europe. Everybody found a second one. So dual sourcing, safety stocks, risk registers. So then redesigns, digital twins, scenario plannings, supplier visibility, try to do so. And then shared logistics, some regional balances. And right now, we are talking about friendshoring. Some countries and the others are friends. So they are friendshoring together. In 2030, resilience will be the DNA, they are saying, embedded in the people, systems, and their values. So today, the supply chains are mainly fragmented, cost-driven, but it will be adaptive, cognitive, ecosystem-driven. Right now, KPIs, efficiency-focused operations, right now we are there also. It will be resilience, intelligence, and sustainability. We have listened many digitalization, transformation, and in AI. Right now, the critical part, reactive crisis response, like the COVID, like the Russia, probabilistic scenario-based design. This is the main basic part. There are some visibility gaps. We don't see everything in the ecosystem for sure. But with the AI, with the traceability, end-to-end transparency, and organizational silos. Right now, we are there also. It says that multi-enterprise collaboration. So these are for sure very hard, but the final purpose is to go there. Yes, I will stay there for a while, because they say that this is the resilient supply chain house. It say that the resilience is strategy, humanity, plus the technology. Okay, it needs the governance and for sure risk sensing. It needs the ecosystem collaboration, no doubt. Of course, the digital intelligence, AI, digital twins, blockchain, and real-time agility. Now comes regionalization and sustainability. But then says that balance efficiency with sovereignty. This is critical. And what's it? Sovereignty, they say that regionalization with sovereignty, resilience means not closing the border, but opening new ones built on trust and shared capacity and finance efficient ones. They are saying this. We'll see. And you will build culture and capability, empowered people. I think, Dr. Yu said that it will change. For example, drone drivers will come through, examples. Adaptive leadership, and they will use 3C. So, collaboration, communication, cooperation. So, the world is, of course, changing. I won't go into details because it's a wrap-up for this. Let's go through it. Now comes the Gartner's hype cycle. So what does this mean? Every year, Gartner publishes this hype cycle for supply chain, for logistics, whatever. This is the supply chain hype cycle for this year. In this hype cycle, we see that There are many technologies here. This is the innovation. This is the, I can say, excitement stage. Then some fails. And then again a momentum. Then momentum, and these ones will start to be implemented. As we see that the scenario planning, supply chain cybersecurity, ecosystem partnerships peak of inflated expansions. But as you see, plateau of productivity, AI integration, performance management, and advanced analytics are in the plateau of productivity. They come along for supply chain. But in here, these ones are near to go to this side. So they have time. For logistics, these are the logistic technologies for this year again. As you see, it's very crowded. Many technologies are here. But as we see, these ones and these ones have the momentum, and they are, I think, have the maturity. So as we can see, warehouse control systems, labor location tracing, indoor people tracking, warehouse simulations, and the others. So Gartner every year publishes which technologies are mature and also have the momentum. So we are looking at it every year. Yes. And AI won't replace leaders. It will elevate those who lead with clarity and purpose. I won't again go into detail. Future resilience, according to Gartner, must have 4 Ds: deferment, durability, decision, and design. Deferment, I think, interesting. They say that delay the decisions until it's near the certainty in the future. Durability, design for longevity and reuse. We know it. Decision empowered data-driven judgment. Okay. Design, build adaptive networks from the start. I think the most interesting one is the first one. Delay the decisions until certainty emerges. Sustainability will be the core in resilience. Design for reuse, repair, regeneration, integrate traceability, circularity, build ecosystem partnerships around shared sustainability goals. So this will be very important. Yes, and the human factor. We don't lose the human factor. Technology builds capacity, but people will build the meaning and the value. So empathy bridges data with meaning and the trust. As I said before, without trust, nothing will go on, as we see in the COVID. Yes, future won't be linear. As you said before, both Dr. Karakash and Dr. It will be not the traditional ones, develop, plan, source, make, deliver, the ones that we know, but it will be very interconnected, deeply interconnected. So, the supporting points for these interconnected ones will be the end-to-end visibility for sure. Otherwise, you cannot do anything. And the shared logistics will be a must. Otherwise, efficiency will be a question mark. Ecosystem level governance and risk sensing is a must again. From then, I will move on to another era. After 2030, another era is on the table. Shared economy. What is the shared economy? It started, but they are talking a lot about it. Shared services, future warehousing models, multi-tenant, AI-powered, flexible, circular hubs. More than now, competitors will use future warehousing models, they are saying. So the capex will be very high. So why to build warehouses on your own? We'll see. Strategic evaluation, shared services, cost, agility, and sustainability. So these are the technological game changers, AI, digital twins, and they are saying blockchains. So these economic and strategic implications, shared networks reshape the capital efficiency and partnerships. So from ownership to orchestration. Who can do the orchestration will win. We were doing the siloed management. Then we went to functional base. So then cross-functional integration. We make external collaborations. Now it's time ecosystem orchestration. It's the AI-driven shared services, logistics as a service platforms, LaaS, they are saying. We will see when, how. But one thing I know, capex is very expensive. So on your own, in Europe, in US, in Turkey, capex is very expensive. So we will see. So, as a summary, co-distribution can decrease 15 to 30% cost, shared warehouses 20 to 40% carbon emission, collaborative reverse logistics can decrease empty miles, and data-driven collaboration, real-time visibility can increase, they say. As I say, this needs really trust. Real trust with the partners, with the competitors. The future, we must imagine all together because we are the supply chain guys. So we will see. So, what we have talked today, what are the key takeaways? Resilience will be the new design principle for the companies. The journey will be from ownership to orchestration. Sustainability will be the core of the resilience. Technology enables, but humanity still defines. Collaboration is the new competitiveness. The resilience decade will be shared. These are my presentations, key takeaways. And as a summary, I can say that resilience, as I started, is the art of resistance, and also the renewal, and also transformation of the companies. And as a last word, as a background of stochastic, how to say, modeler, let's say, from John von Neumann, game theory guy, the father of the game theory, let's say, he was saying real life consists of bluffing. So he says that you need little tactics. of deception. To understand yourself and the other man, what he will do. So he tried to understand what the other man will do, and he tries to deceive, because try to play with the probabilities. But again, as a PhD, I also spend days with the probabilities. I feel and see differently. I don't see the game as a deception anymore, but also I see a puzzle of probabilities, yes, in front of all of us. I can say that this puzzle can be solved only collectively and openly. Let's sit together with all the partners, with your ecosystem, and with the intelligence, data, with the right strategies in front of us. Only we can hedge the risks together and maximize the outcomes in that way. Otherwise, the only outcome will be lose-lose. So, thank you very much.
Do we have any question?
Present. I asked a lot of questions in the past, and your answers were very successful, and you were a successful student. Yeah. As Shejam, can you get the information, every stage of your supply chain? Do you have any control tower or our system or?
As Shejam, you only get the information of tier 1, not tier 2. From OEM also, only tier 1, not tier 2. So there is a development phase for sure. That's the first answer. The second one, for control tower, yes, there are projects. But because the economic crisis globally, not only Turkey, globally the economic, let's say, crisis, the inflation and the other issues, and the SAP HANA transformation, the projects, as Ismail said, he said that benefit, impact, and there must be a sequence. It's in a sequence, but I think that next year maybe, I don't know, control tower, it's in the sequence, yes, but it didn't start. So there are other ones, for example, IBP, it's right now started, right now it's started, and the other business models were, more impactful according to top management, let's say. So,
you get the information from dealers?
Some of them, yes, but segmented. For example, glassware, yes. Automotive, yes. From some markets, yes, but some, no. For example, the Middle East, no.
Thank you very much for the presentation. For Shishejam, is there a risk sensing application or methodology? Can you share or any sites or reports related to this issue, risk sensing?
There is in supply chain, there is, yes, in 3 pillars. company, country, supplier, and it goes down, yes. But for supply chain, it's not enough. That's why I'm telling in this year, for example, we totally understood that only supply chain is not enough, because when something happens from customer to supplier and the ecosystem is affected. So supply chain doesn't mean that the supplier or the planning horizon. It means that your customer and the supplier of the supplier. So it means an enlarged supply chain totally. That's why the resilience for us and the ecosystem is very important. Right now, as we understand, the big companies, the forwarders, the shippers, everybody is working on the AIs, the traceability, the big shippers. Everybody is tremendously investing on AI to see where is the ship, where is the container, where is the truck. So everybody is trying to connect, but it will take time for sure. So we are trying to connect to them because the customer or the shipper, where is it? Because in COVID times, we lost, for example, our goods because some ports closed. So where are our goods? We didn't know. Things like that.
Thanks for the presentation, Selma Hanım. So what I am interested as a company for AI investments. So how do you think to ensure to train the models, AI models within your company or AI intranet, or would you buy a in-house data center or get a service of data center within Turkey in order to protect from internet and AI intranet? How do you think that division for AI intranet for Şişecam?
It differs. For example, there are some tools for our production systems. In production systems, there are some learning systems, but the competitors are also using it. So this question is on the table. Will we use that AI or ML so it will compare also and benchmark also our data? It will not show whose data is that. And the company says that I will not show your data also to the competitor. But, for example, our IT doesn't want it. Okay, so the security is the priority right now. But is it the right choice? I'm not so sure. Which one is the right one? I don't know, really. I'm not an IT guy. So what will happen, I don't know. Normally for me, to do a benchmark is the priority, for example. But I don't know.
Right. Thank you very much for your presentation. Really enjoyed it. And it goes back to some of my original research interests. You put on the perspective of resilience as an art of resistance. And you also gave an example of game theory where you make decisions based on what somebody else is answering to, which is more adaptable. So my underlying question here is, in the future, do we need to be just resilient or maybe like start thinking about being more adaptable to those changes as part of the supply chain management? Thank you.
Thank you. Very good question, by the way. I think that we need to be resilient, first of all. I think if you are adaptive, you are resilient also. In the definition of resilience, I think you are adaptive. Why I'm telling this? For example, if you look at nature, the most, how to say it, for example, glass. Glass is very hard substance and it breaks very easily. But for example, kauçuk, İngilizce ne? I don't know, by the way, sorry. Rubber, yes. Rubber is very flexible, you know, and you cannot break it. So, which one is resilient for you? Okay, so I think that rubber is adaptive and also resilient. So, nature also answers it for me. And in the stochastic models, for example, as I study, I was the nonlinear models. I'm not using them in Şişecam, by the way. Only one model I used, but right now, none of them is used in Şişecam inventory models, for example, because you cannot forecast any of the demand. You put some, how to say, demand forecasting models according to the past data, but none of them applies. Everything has changed. So I think that when you are flexible, when you are adaptive, you become more resilient. Thank you very much. I think.
Yeah, we don't have any question. So thank you for your presentation. And
thank you
now,
very much.
To present the sublink donation and certificate of appreciation to Dr. Selma Öner, I would like to invite the president of LODER, Professor Mehmet Tanyaş, to the stage.
Hocam. Evet, ne güzel sizin elinizden almak. Süper, teşekkür ederim.
And now we have lunch break. It's 1 hour break, so you can go for your lunch. Hello everyone, welcome again. I hope you all had a pleasant lunch break. Let's continue with our program. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Emine Türkmen from Koç Dijital.
I think I skipped some slides. Okay, that's good. So I would like to thank you to all the organizers to invite me here. Thank you, all welcome here. And I'm very glad to be here also. So the organization is magnificent and the speeches are very good. I will be fed from these conversations and these keynotes all the day, I think. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Emre Türkmen, and I'm industrial engineer, hold BSc and MSc degrees from İstanbul Technical University Industrial Engineering Department. And one of my lecturers is Professor Tanyaş. I started my academic career with him and the other very valuable lecturers. So I'm doing also academic studies besides my PhD, and I am holding also an MBA degree from the Koç University. My background is generally focused on technology, digital transformation, and the AI for the last 9 years. I have focused on AI and the technology in this period. I have been working for Koç Dijital for 5 years. What is Koç Dijital? It's the Koç digital company. So the company was born with 3 pillars: IIoT, data, and AI. Besides these valuable pillars, we are also consultant muscles. I am working in the supply chain management solutions and consultancy directorate. Dr. Burak Kandemir is leading this director. And we have 3 missions in this directorate. One of them is consultancy. Our team involves many SMEs, consultants, analytic professionals, and the other relevant roles besides all these participants. And the other thing is that we are developing the product platform. And I am leading this product, which is named as Supply Dynamics, which is AI-infused product platform. We are focusing on the tactical level of supply chain management, the planning, integrated business planning layer. Besides that layer, we are also focusing to deliver and some logistics problems, solving with our muscles, with our models, with collaborating with our customers. I have also volunteer roles in the boards, such as Istanbul Technical University Industrial Engineering Department Advisory Board. So I attended some ABET referee committees for 2 times since 2020. I defended some major studies with some academicians in that board. And I have been in the Eastern University's Rectoral Advisory Board since 2022. Besides this introduction, I would like to share my ideas about what is the usage of AI in supply chain management today and the future with a motto or something, which is that observe, learn, and act. We should observe, collect data. We should learn, adapt ourselves or our organizations, and act, take actions with these decisions. What is this observe, learn, and act? What does this come from is John Boyd's framework. John Boyd is a military strategist, and he introduced a systematic process to effectively handle uncertainties and rapidly changing situations. Today is a very changing world, the data and etc., everything. So that framework, I thought that framework fit this presentation nearly. So let's start with the observe layer. In supply chain, companies are striving for end-to-end, the visibility. We talked about the logistics visibility or the other thing, very important thing. The efficiency, operational efficiency, or other financial efficiency, or the resources you hold, the efficiency. And the third one is agility. Because of 3 major reasons, which I will deep dive into the details in the later slides. Outdated infrastructure, both technological, and the human or other assets. The second one is the fragmented data, which is a major topic and the issue for all companies. I have been doing this consultancy for more than 10 years and completed more than 50 projects. I didn't face any company that has a robust fragmented data and the correlated databases. And nowadays, we are talking about the agents, agentic AIs, but the data is everywhere. This is not related and so fragmented. This is, I think, very major issue, this thing, fragmented data. We will talk about in the later slides. And the third one is the disruptions. So you know that the disruption in Turkish yıkım, very critical issue. It was introduced with the innovation disruption in 90s, but today the disruptions are everywhere. We are disrupting the roads, we are disrupting the companies, we are disrupting the industries. So this is very critical. So we are talking about the resilience in the previous speech. So resilience is very important because you should be resilient, or you should not be. Either or other way. You can choose to be resilient, But you should take care of this risk to mitigate or disappear, remove them. But if you choose that, in supply chain, traditional models are not sustainable in today's world. They do not work properly for these today's environments. And the second one is the AI is thought to be positioned in the companies for resilient and the agile supply chain structures. Resilient and agile. These buzzwords may come to our mind. What is that? The agility or resilient. But there are many reasons lying behind these two terms. Why I'm talking about that is the AI is critical role because it's empowering the businesses in 3 dimensions. For example, we want to predict something for many years. I remember that in undergrad, we are trying to forecast demand with some algorithms or other thing. The machine learning, besides the machine learning, we can do that. But maybe many of you can do that. When you look at this past data, when you sense the seasonality effect, you can forecast something. Is that enough? No. That's not enough. Because many companies come to us and ask to, let's build some algorithm model and predict something. Predict something. But it is not enough to predict something. It is must to predict one thing that will contribute to your business processes. Because of that, you will prevent some obstacles. You will prevent the crisis before it occurs. Maybe something cannot foresee before. For example, pandemic effect. Who can foresee before? But once we had that, we will consider that second pandemic may come in the following years. We should consider these variables, parameters with our world. And the third one is the response that is what I talked about. So what are the recommended things that we can be resilient in supply chain is invest in predictive analytics. It is the predict dimension. And second one, the automate to increase agility. Agility is responding timely and faster. Not lately, not inaccurately. Accurately and timely, speed and accurately. And the third one is the enhanced collaboration with AI. We should hug the AI. We should welcome it and collaborate it with some projects. And the fourth one is the leveraging real-time processing, the real-time, not the nearly real-time or not the discrete way. But it's very hard, very, very hard, impressively. For example, Professor Tanyash asked the question that, can you collect the data from your parties, the third one? Is it possible? Technically possible on the paper, but it's practically very hard. And a survey conducted by the Gartner shows that only 23% of the supply chain organizations have a formal AI strategy. That's very normal, I think, for now. That will change, but normal, because that took place in the agendas. There's not 0, this is 23. I think not bad. But the recipe recommended for that is the 3 steps. One is to develop a formal supply chain AI strategy. I will show an example in the next slide. And the second one is a framework is offered, that run, grow, transform framework. Run indicates the operational level. Grow indicates the tactical level, and the transform is indicating the strategic level, which is in the run phase, you should focus on the operational efficiency, cost optimization, which are the low-hanging fruit. You can touch it. And the second one is about the organization and the cross-functional structures. For example, we know that the S&OP cycles, sales and operations cycles, are very critical in supply chain management. It's not about the technology, it's about the collaborating, it's about the teamwork in the organizations. So cross-functional alignment, sales, operations, IT, and the other relevant parties. And the second one is the enhancing the decision-making capabilities. One term is in our life for 2 or 3 years, decision intelligence in supply chain management. It's a very critical issue, and we are focusing also that in our company. And the third one is the leveraging AI consumer insights for the strategic and the proactive demand shaping, which is about the prediction. And the third one of this strategy is AI-ready infrastructure. As you remember in the first slide, in the first thing is the not sufficient infrastructures. We should get our infrastructure to be dated, not outdated. So this is an example for a supply chain AI strategy. This is very, I think, easy to be prepared, but strategies are on the pages. You should follow it. The hardest thing is to follow the strategy, I think. So, in the observe phase, we are talking all about the demand and to balance the supply with this demand. We are forecasting this demand with the traditional statistics techniques, but it's offered that you should focus on a touchless forecasting. Touchless. What is touchless? In Turkish, dokunmadan tahminleme planlama, which is with the forecasting the demand, you follow this process with the planning, demand planning. And in this demand planning, you should be consensus, take the consensus with other parties, all parties. And the last demand item will be decided altogether. But in this article or blog post or something is saying that until 2030, there will be touchless forecasting. That may come as utopic because while we are investing in the supply dynamics platform, we spend most of the effort in the demand sensing part is the demand planning, the consensus. We spend a lot. I cannot share, but a lot. Because this demand planning process changes with the industries also. Every industry is not the same. There are several dynamics. For example, if you focus on the defense industry, there are some regulations, some other things. And if you're focusing on the healthcare, if you're focusing on the logistics, etc., etc. So this is a very important thing. And these 5 stages plan offer us you should be ready for the touchless forecasting vision. Let's come to the learn step. I will share some fundamental AI things with you because in the learn stage we should learn some AI things to adapt the supply chain management. Maybe you see that graph. There are 4 or 5 stages in this dimension x-axis, the time, and from information to the optimization, there are 5 stages. One of the descriptive, in Turkish tanımlayıcı, diagnostic, teşhis edici. The third one is the predictive, tahminleyici, prescriptive, reçetesel ve 5. cognitive de bilişsel in Turkish. So these 5 things are the order from the information to optimization. So you process the data and the information with getting the steps into these stages. We want to be cognitive. We want to automate all the data, as I said, in the touchless demand forecasting. So this is AI fundamental. So every company starts with the descriptive level and wants to jump speedily to the diagnostic level, and let's do some data science with the predictive and prescriptive level. But this is not. The first and second one has been done for long years with the visualization, Power BI, etc. You know that. But the third and the fourth one want some academic background. You should do some hypothesis. You should do some data engineering issues. You should do some meaningful actions. But I know that these are the very fancy things, but these things cannot be done without this academic and background. This is very critical. Yes? Okay. Better. Thank you for warning. So the next thing is the tools of AI. These are a rich graph, rich picture for including some AI tools, which are not only the data, the privacy, ethical issues, implementing, training, and deployment, etc., etc. There are many tools. The AI is not the only one word. There are many tools, the security layer, etc. As a product manager, I should take care of all of these tools at every point. At every point, on every day. We should consider the security level. We should consider the data. We cannot focus on only the modeling our algorithms. There are some concepts on the artificial intelligence. Sorry for the Turkish translation. I think forgot this, but I will translate. In the first thing, the yapay zeka, artificial intelligence. Under that, when you use the machine learning techniques, that is the machine learning thing. And when you narrow down to the machine learning with some neurons and the deep reinforcement learning or the deep learning, and when you focus on the generating some AI things is the generative AI. And when you mimic the human language with the computer language, it is the natural language processing. So let's jump into the generative AI intelligence. As I said that, you can create new content using the existing audio, code, content, text, video, visual, something, the types of the data, when you come up with some new things. When you're using the generative AI tools, it's used to pass these contents. And agentic AI, very popular, and today it's rising, and we're focusing also that. But everybody is talking, but no agent existing on the playground. But we will introduce soon. The agentic AI, I think, is not a new thing. When you use the chatbot, it's the bot. It's the chat. It's designed for only chat. It's an agent also. But the different thing in that agentic AI is deciding and taking actions with AI. Not the commands prompted by user, by end user. It will think that agent will think that we decide using the past data and decide to do that, and it will commit the SAP database, this value, for example, agentic AI extension. I will share some real world problems with you today, the 3 agents in the next slides. But this is very popular. This will replace human, etc. I don't believe this, because the expertise is very critical still, because these agents cannot work alone in themselves. You should train it. You should say that use this framework, use this data. I can give example for that is Türkçe. Çocuğu yetiştirirken anne baba olmadan kendi başına büyümesini bekliyoruz. O da bir ajan diye düşünelim. Mümkün mü? Değil. It's about the growing a child without parents. Parents should be there. There are many impacts on the technology industry, but I will skip these slides. But only the thing that we should not forget, these guys are the technology leaders, and they are disrupting the world very fast and quickly. They are saying many things about the AI. They are aggressively investing the AI recently for last 2 years. But the critical thing that will take away from these all explanations is that agentic AI will be in our life. because these major investments will not be zeroed in the near future, I think. Some of them pacing, so for example, Microsoft site, Satya Nadella, Bill Gates, and Sam Altman is the part of OpenAI related with Microsoft. They are moving fastly, but Jeff Bezos is slower than there. For example, he said that AI is a balloon last week. That's the issue. But we should read the underline. What does he say? What is the bubble? Yes, I am on the same page with some parts of the bubble. But if we build agent, if we take this agent into real life and the workflow, and we can deliver the output to the business units, that's not the bubble. But if we cannot do that, this is a bubble. So we should act in the, as I will tell in the last thing. So as fragmented data issue, here is the data topologies. Data layer is about the ERP, MES, and its different data layers you are collecting from the IoT. For example, the connecting vehicles, the warehouse, IoTs, etc. This is the fundamental data layer. And the analytics layer is the layer that you run the analytic models, the algorithms in the primitively. And the optimization and AI hybrid models layer is contain much more sophisticated and complicated algorithms. For example, it contains some NPR problems, etc. So you cannot solve it with the basic statistical techniques. And the knowledge graph and the semantic layer shows us the relations with some assets. For example, if you have a correlation with some two things, you can use this knowledge graph and the semantic layer with that. And the application and the infrastructure layer is the layer that end user sees, what interacts with. For example, LLMs, for example, chatbots, or the reporting screens that the end user thinks. This is the AI technologies, and the supply chain industry contain all of things very deeply. And the last one is the ACT. I would like to share some real AI use cases in supply chain. For example, the most popular one is the demand forecasting and the inventory optimization. Let's forecast the demand, let's optimize the inventory. This is very traditional and very basic and fundamental issue. If you will be, for all the student side, a supply chain management professional, you should first focus on this. You should forecast demand, optimize inventory, because if you cannot optimize inventory, you will stock much more and you will tie your net working capital into these stocks. So you will lose money. The second one is route planning, the route optimization. We have completed with a project with our new platform. So this problem is also with the handling the real-time data, the weather, the routes, and the other things. So this is very also good use case in the acting. The third one is the much more complex. The scheduling problems is not easy to solve, but very, I think, popular, and you can have fun with solving these problems. When I was doing my graduates, I solved some problems in this layer. And the supplier scorecard is very popular because when you may hear that customer relationship management, but the supplier relationship management is also very critical. Because in today's world, the companies have many suppliers, and you should choose the supplier correctly. You also, besides that, you should sustain this relationship in a good manner. Very critical. You should score this supplier in some dimensions, for example, lead time or etc., the deliveries, etc., etc. So this is very critical, and the supplier scorecard or something that make the control tower is also related with that. They're very critical, not easy to implement, but if you can adapt this, you will attach it, and you can decide with these things. So there are some insights here that we are approaching the last things. So half of supply chain management solutions will include agentic AI capabilities by 2030. This is, to me, a product manager developing a platform. So who said that? The Kathleen Summers. She is the senior director analyst in Gartner's supply chain. She said that in this year, in I think England or Spain. And she recommended that the 3 stages prioritize use cases. First, you should extract the use cases from the field. And the second one, integrating AI agents to workflows. Before that, you should learn how to build an AI agent. And after that, you should integrate these AI agents to the existing or the adapted workflows. And the third one is the defining the operational parameters. If you cannot track these parameters, track the numbers, track the KPIs, you cannot measure the efficiencies of these AI agents, which is good or bad. The second one is about the academic environment. So I found 2 papers which are focused on the agentic LLMs and the potential of LLMs in supply chain management. So in the academic field, the agents are getting popular to be searched, to be found, to be reviewed, I think. Because in these 2 papers, they review something. In the first thing is the coordination among the stakeholders. As I said, the SNOP cycles, they reviewed these behaviors, I think. The second one is about the enhancing the decision making and predictive and operational efficiency. The third example, it comes from a community, the ASCM, Association Supply Chain Management. They adapted the score model with considering today's changes in the new one, Score DS. They put the orchestrate layer to the center, to the heart of the model and the framework. So this is very important because they are ready to act, to adapt the new things into their frameworks. And Laura Cicire is very popular in this field. I think last week she posted content which has topic retronym. Retronym says that you should define something again. So she's saying that the Gartner Magic Quadrants tell us something, but you should define it again because there is AI world, there are agentic AIs. You should be ready to do that. These are the agents, as I said. I can share 3 agents with you, as I said in the beginning of my conversation, which is the data collection agent. Once you have an infrastructure, there is fragmented. If your agent learns how to collect this data, it will collect. So I practiced it in the environment. The second one is about the tagging or layering, tagging the data with something. For example, if you collect this ERP data, you say that this is ERP data and you should use this data in, for example, forecasting models, etc. The third one is the visualization agent. This will also be popular for that. And we are focusing not for 3 of them, but we are prioritizing these use cases and we are working on it. So you can consider something about that. That may be useful for you. There are some frameworks also, agent platforms, for example, Crew AI. You can use these agents, building agents, to be used in the supply chain problems. But today, not everything is good. There are some problems and potential risks. One of them is the ethical issues. The second one is the expertise, as I said, because you cannot replace the expertise in the human You can't, because there does not AGI exist, artificial general intelligence. The third one is the economic impacts in the labor market. Yes, we are not replacing the human with some agent, but we are reducing some maybe number of employees because the processes will be adapted. The fourth one is the quality issues. For example, output. The agents will deliver you output, but you cannot be happy with these outputs. The fifth one is the copyright, of course. So who owns this copyright? Because it is produced by agent. Is this copyright or is this legal? I don't know. That may be issue. And the sixth one is the over-reliance and loss of skills. When you attach with the AI, you will forget how to innovate, how to produce, because I should use that. For example, we are not remembering our parents' number because we are using the mobile phones. We lost this ability or skill. Maybe we will forget celebrating the birthday of our son because it will remind me. But etc. like this, AI will be in our life and we will forget something. The last but not the least, Da Vinci says the simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. These words are very complex, but what I'm doing is focusing on the simple things. Simple. Basic math, for example. Not complex thing. First, focus with solving with your hand and paper, pen and paper. After that, you will jump into the next stage. I'm following this, and the simple is the hardest one, but I can say that. So these two colleagues are collaborating with me. I would like to thank them. They couldn't come here. Balkar, who is the leader of our SME, one of the leaders, and he completed one of the biggest projects in Aslan Aluminium, to the supply chain management project, end-to-end. And Gülçin is industrial engineer, who is my classmate also in İTÜ, and she has been working for me for long years. I'm product manager, and I'm consuming these expertise, and we are implementing these projects and products to customers with this expertise. Thank you for listening to me. This is the end of my presentation.
Yes, any questions?
Sorry, like I just always have this curious mindset, and that's why I get these questions. Don't want to be the first one, but fantastic presentation. I really like the way how you look at the shift from AI to generative to AI agentic. But you picked up on two very interesting risks for the future of AI, and the one is I personally feel are critical are the ethical element, and for the current generation, like these students who are studying the AI with the help of ChatGPT, is the loss of skills. So can you please elaborate on to those two risks and how these Gen Z can actually benefit and overcome some of these risks which they are going to face in 10 years' time? Thank you.
A good question. Thank you. We are holding these risks with Gen Z. I'm mitigating this risk with accepting the risk. I'm joking. Yes, the Gen Z is my colleague. I think I'm 40 years old, but I'm working with the Gen Z, and the majority of my team is the Gen Z. So yes, you're right. When you were born into the digital native, you cannot understand what the old one is because you don't know that. So they cannot adapt the old one, but I can adapt the future one, next one. So I'm trying to adapt them. So I'm talking with them. The approach. For example, some Gen Z, my colleagues, are bored to solve the analytical problems in pen and paper. Hey, why I'm doing that? I think you're talking about this. But let's do that together. Together we can do that. this is an adaptation process, and they're adapting. And they respond much quicker than us, than the Gen Y, Gen X. They are very quick. But you should convince them to do that. Let's not build an algorithm. Before, let's understand what's the problem. Because building and forecasting algorithm is not hard in today. You can use some tools. Maybe you can put some data into some platforms, cloud platform. You can do that. But you should convince. Let's do some hypothesis. Why does this hypothesis serve? Why we do that? Because I think we should be patient. We should be patient and talk what the reasons very robustly. And most of my day, I'm spending that so much. I can say that. But the academic instruments help me so much because I am backing with them, the references. As you see, I put all the references here. You can see all the references because somebody said that this is a thing. So the second question is about the ethical issue, I think. I am working with legal teams. I'm also, since 2022, I have been attending these AI in legal and the GC academies, and I'm talking this with them, the professional ones. What is ethics? What are the potential ethical issues that we can face in the near future? There are many ambiguity here. They cannot foresee what is the ethical, what is non-ethical. But if you use ChatGPT for your studies, for your thing, and everybody knows that, and the potential issues, this may be ethical, if everybody knows and accepting that. But if one person does not accept that, and you're trying to push that, I think this is non-ethical. For example, we are facing with the customers some sensitive data in our platform, GDPR and the issues, as you know. We faced one issue with our customer. They said that this is sensitive data, we cannot put it in the cloud, etc. But once we look at the regulations and the legal things, there are no obligation here. There's nothing written in here that you cannot put data in the cloud or anything. So we override this issue with that. Is that answer satisfied you? Thank you for your question.
Thank you for your presentation. How can we use AI tools for developing supply chain strategy depending on corporate strategy? Second question, you have a lot of consultancy. Do you know any firm using score model in Turkey?
I start with the first question. This is a very important thing because you should start with the top-to-down approach, the strategy one. As I showed in the presentation, supply chain AI strategy, as McKinsey said that. You can use that. You can use these AI tools to align these strategies together. But first of that, you should have a vision to do that because the strategy comes from a vision. An example from our customers, for example, we do many consultancy projects and most of them is the design projects. Let's do some projects for you and the supply chain structure, redesign. And we start with the top level, what's the vision? What do they want to have at the end of the day? For example, increase the profit, increase the etc. etc. For example, we have a platform, hocam, assessment platform. We do that. We use GenAI tools. Once we have interviews with our customers, we send surveys and questionnaires, and they respond this data, and they share the non-sensitive presentations and the corporate enterprise documents with us. And our models that say that you will have problems with your deliveries because you said that in the strategic level, we will invest in the 3 years later because we have lack of some root things, root deliveries or the missing parts. Or the other thing is that we cannot collaborate all the parties in one table and we cannot cycle the SNOPs here. So this is other issue that will affect and that will have impact on their decision-making process because you can have cycles per week, but because of that, you will have cycles 1 month. What does this understand from this is you will respond to the market changes 1 per month instead of 1 per week. So we are doing that. This Gen AI tools, the AI tools in aligning the enterprise strategy with the supply chain strategy in the assessment side, assessment layer. We are focusing on also the financial things. For example, inventory turnovers, the stocks, the things. There are many important KPIs, yes, inventory KPIs in your balances, the sheets, which is open to everybody. And we are developing this with the Gen AI tools. So we have a chance, Dr. Burak Kandemir has a great vision to do that. And we are collaborating with it. We are focusing on to do that. The primary issue here, Hocam, is the industry differences. We should come up with a intersection set. For example, because some industries have different things. They don't want to share something, or some are eager to share much more information with you. We are focusing on that. The first question I answered that. The score model, yes, I heard some companies adapting the score model, the version 1, version 2. I think the question is there any firm using the score model? I heard something, but I hadn't have experience for that. Yani, we haven't used a score model for our customers yet. But the latest version, we are analyzing this latest version. Yes, we are adapting something. For example, in the design phase, or when we audit what they are doing in the supply chain organization, the roles, if they have missing roles, or the planning level, because our most muscle focuses on the planning level, tactical IBP level. We are focusing on that, but the score model contains plan, source, make, deliver, return, etc. The many pillars. So I can say that we are focusing on some pillars of this model, and we are doing by the book here, but not the total one, as our experience.
So you think the score model is useful for the supply chain structure for the firms, right?
I cannot say this is a reference model yet. Yes, you can use, but some parts we are inspiring from some levels, not adapting the score model here. We are not doing that.
Thank you for the presentation. One question is disruption forecasting. It's a very popular term. Do you have any studies or any researches about this topic? Or what's your opinion if there could be a study or a tool about disruption forecasting? What could be the data sources that could train our model, etc.? Thanks.
I have no studies conducted in both academic or professional level. No studies from my side. Yes, I studied the disruptive innovation, Christensen's framework. I studied that. But the disruption forecasting may be fed with the disrupted ones in the past. I think you're looking for that. What is disrupted in the last thing? I think you're asking that.
Actually, to predict the disruption.
To predict disruption, yeah. you can use also the past data. What has been disrupted so far today? Yeah, I think you should first start from that. For example, as I said, what is disrupted? We are not remembering the numbers for our mom because that does that. In the slides, touchless forecasting, for example, I think this will be disrupted totally because the investments, the capex, the capital expense, as Ms. Salman said that, yeah, very high because the labor costs increase aggressively in Turkey and the other things. So the disruption will focus on today the human capital because there are many shortage in the supply chain professionals, a qualified one. Because we are starting a project, there is budget, are awesome, but how will I do that project? Who is the confronting me? Who will do it? Yeah, the human capital is the missing, the critical thing, I think. So disruptive forecasting is about that. We are using as I said, the assessments because we assess many companies and there are many valuable databases. The findings from these studies conducted from us may focus 3 or 4 big things. One is the coordination issue, the SNOP cycles in today's industry, because they don't want to collaborate in-house. They want somebody comes and let's collaborate us. And I think this will also be disrupted with the touchless forecasting. The real-time things, I think the data collected for our existing projects, we are using mostly the cold data stored in the real databases. But I think in the near future, we will use that real-time data for many projects because the operations change in the daily basis. And you should answer this in the daily basis also, not the 2 or 3rd. For example, you should optimize the route in daily basis because maybe there is some thing that the route will be affected. You should put this real time, yes. Thank you. Of course.
Delivering your platform products to the market.
What go-to-market strategy?
Go-to-market strategy, yes.
Our product. Okay. I cannot share the commercial information with you, but as a product manager, I can share my vision. As I presented, observe, learn, and act. We are doing that. For example, we observed the agents last year. We learned the agents in the beginning of this year, and we are acting now. We are building these agents. Now, there are some meetings in my team are doing this agent. This is my philosophy as product manager. I don't want to get stuck on the theoretical side. I want to deliver something, and what's happening, what is the output. The customer is okay with that. I do generally not focus on the project implementation side. But after the project implementation, I ask the customer, are you happy with that? Is your life easier than the yesterday? Do you offer this solution to any other parties? Once we implement it. But before developing something new is very risky, I understand, and hard to invest something. In that manner, we use that forecasting the disruptions, forecasting the trends. For example, 1 month ago, I found an article in the beginning of the slides and shared with the product team. And I didn't say anything because it said that the agents will replace visualization parts, the reporting part, because in supply chain management, there are many reports, the cockpits, the KPIs, dashboard. You should track them in daily basis, weekly basis, quarterly basis. But the visualization side helps you how to interact with the data. You should reach the information, not the data, or maybe knowledge maybe wisdom of somebody. So we start with that, with dirtying our hands. Let's do that. Let's plan, but interact. Let's do that. So this is our philosophy. Besides that, we began to develop this platform last year's first quarter. We didn't also get stuck on the technology. Technology may be a barrier to you when you spend much more time with that. Maybe you're faced with some technological problems and you're trying to some solutions that. Many startups and many companies live with that. I see that. But after a reasonable time, let's forget this solution. Let's do another. Because the technology is not barrier. Technology will help me. I will be good. I want to feel good with the technology. I want to be technology enemy with me. This is my philosophy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Is there any question? I think okay. To present the sublink donation and certificate of appreciation to Dr. Emre Türkmen, I would like to invite the Congress Chair, Professor Botan Kocaoğlu, to the stage.
Teşekkür ederiz. Teşekkür ederim. Çok teşekkür ederim. Sağ olun.
And actually, it was the last speech of today in conference hall. Thank you for your attendance. So, it's okay. It's finished. And can we take a picture, the whole group, right now?
Okay. And one more
Yes, yes. Yeah. Okay, we will take another picture. Okay. Arkadaşlar. Hocam biz nasıl gelelim? Arkadaşlar gelsenize. Herkes hep beraber çekiyoruz.